Hey, Harry.
Hello, mate.
What's your tip for the big match?
Well, it's going to be a bit lively, that is for sure. And there's a bit of needle there. They're both dangerous from set pieces, and neither one of them can keep a clean sheet. So your best bet is... clean sheet. Oh, blooming Nora. I've only gone and left the washing on the line.
Harry?
Chandra's going to kill me.
Make your best bet at BetVictor. 18 plus, please gamble responsibly.
Clyde One Super Scoreboard Podcast with Luker's Land Rover, the new name for Taggart's. The same friendly faces and great service with a new name above the door. It's game day, and this is the home of Scottish football. It's Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Good afternoon and welcome to Clyde One Super Scoreboard on a 6-game, 6-hour Premiership Saturday to see us off into the World Cup break. Giovanni Van Bronckhorst needs another win when Rangers go to St Mirren minus Antonio Cholak this lunchtime. Celtic will then look to reinstate or add to their 7-point lead when Ross County visit. Hearts, Livy, Kelly Hibs, St Johnstone, Motherwell and Aberdeen Dundee United make up the top flight card in the company this afternoon of Gordon Dalziel, Mark Wilson and Hugh Keevins.
The public trial of Giovanni Van Bronckhorst continues in Paisley today. The charge is negligence, leading to a 7-point advantage for Celtic at the top of the Premiership table. The sentence for any worsening of that situation will be severe for the Rangers manager. The jury will stay out if Rangers win, and they'll stay out for a month while the Premiership goes into cold storage. At Celtic Park later on today, there will be a VAR controversy, because there is always a VAR controversy whenever Celtic play. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the verdict will be yours when the lines open at 5 o'clock.
Yeah, looking forward to this afternoon, starting at the Smiza Stadium, where Hugh rightly says Giovanni Van Bronckhorst under major pressure to cut the points deficit at the top before Celtic and Ange Postecoglou look for a 14th win out of 15 games to send them off in their World Cup break. And all around the country, you look at that bunch of teams looking to get into the top 6 at this stage of the season. It's going to be an intriguing afternoon for our last one.
Yeah, I'm hoping that we end with a good high until the World Cup's over, Gordon. A lot of exciting games, a lot of good games. Let's get plenty of goals, let's get packed action this afternoon.
Let's go straight to Paisley to kick things off. Andrew McLean has the teams ahead of St Mirren Rangers.
Yeah, well, Giovanni Van Bronckhorst saying it's key they go into the World Cup break with some positivity and 3 points after a turbulent few weeks. Pressure eased slightly by that 1-0 win over Hearts midweek, but we've had plenty of fans on the phones who still believe it's time for change at the club, and that pressure is definitely still there. A win is a must for sure in this one. More injury issues to contend with as well. We knew Antonio Cholak was out for this one, but there's no Ben Davies either. He doesn't even make the bench for Rangers today, and they're up against a St Mirren side who have a good home record. And remember, they beat Celtic here earlier on this campaign. The last time they beat both sides of the Old Firm in the same season was back in 1989-90, so a chance to create history with a win here today as well. As for team news, it's one out for St Mirren. Alex Grieve drops to the bench. In comes Jonah Ayunga, so it's Trevor Carson in goal for them. The back three: Marcus Fraser, Declan Gallagher and Charles Dunn. Ryan Strain as the right wing back, Scott Tanzer the left wing back. 3 central midfielders: Greg Kiltie, Ethan Errahon and Mark O'Hara. Jonah Ayunga and Curtis Main the strike force for them today. Substitutes are Minsky, Shaughnessy, Flynn, Brophy, Henderson, Gogic, Reid, Bacchus and Grieve for Rangers. 3 changes: Davies, Cholak and Matondo, the 3 who drop out. In come Kamara, Wright and Morelos. Alan McGregor in goal. The back 4: James Tavernier, Leon King, James Sands and Borna Barisic. John Lundstrom and Glenn Kamara, the 2 holding midfielders. Scott Wright, Malik Tillman and Ryan Kent in behind Alfredo Morelos. The substitutes for them: McLaughlin, Jack, Davis, Matondo, McCann, Arfield, Devine, Ifeko and Ewer. The referee for this one in Paisley is Kevin Clancy. The VAR, Andrew Dallas.
It's a cracker to kick us off, Hugh Keevins. What's at stake here?
Well, Giovanni Van Bronckhorst's job, for one. I could not visualise the manager staying in his position were Rangers to lose today. The impact that would have on Celtic at 3 o'clock would be significant, and if the deficit was to go out to 10 points, I could not see the manager survive. With regard to team matters, Cholak out and Morelos in. Morelos used to be irreplaceable, now he's the replacement. And at the back, I don't think Ben Davies' loss to Rangers today is of that much importance. I don't think he's done enough in the Rangers jersey to make Sands an inadequate replacement for him.
Gordon, this week has been yet another fascinating one on the phone line. Some Rangers fans have been on, and in their mind, it's too late. Giovanni Van Bronckhorst can't be saved regardless of what happens today. Then we've had other calls saying that even if he wasn't to win today, he's still the man to get a bit more time and get injured players back and so on. I think it goes without saying he certainly could do with all 3 points.
I think it's an incredible situation the Rangers manager's in today. I think if he gets the victory in Paisley, then he gets time to go and sort of restart again. He's got injuries coming back, he's got time to work in the training ground, he's got some breathing space. If he loses today, then I'm with you. I think they'll look at replacing him, because he will not survive a loss to St Mirren, and especially with Celtic at home to Ross County. You fancy them to pick 3 points up. 10 points would be far too much. And as you say, Gordon, there's a big percentage of Rangers fans already against the manager. Vital afternoon for him.
Is this one, Mark, where when it's on the road you can maybe afford to dip your expectations slightly, and it becomes more about the 3 points than the performance? I mean, there's been previous weeks when fans have been wanting both, and I'm sure many would prefer both today. But like I said, if you're on the road, it's the last game before the World Cup, there's all this stuff hanging over you. Maybe a bit like Wednesday night. Is this just get to those 3 points and deal with the rest later?
Yeah, I would say so. I think the Rangers manager will have that level of thought going into the game. I think he'll convey that message to his players. Now, whether that translates to the fans, though, is a different thing, because Daz rightly says they've been winning in the past and narrowly winning, and although they've got the job done in the past, it's not been enough for the fans, and they've made their voice quite clear in that. I'm not too sure, even if he does win narrowly today, if that will be enough. I think the Rangers board will still be thinking of this, because when you get a large section of the fans not happy with how things are going, or the direction of travel, how things are going, then this is unique this season, that this 5 weeks coming up gives boards an opportunity to reassess what they think, and I think they will still be thinking about it after this afternoon.
If the gap is 7 points by 5 o'clock tonight, as it is now, then I don't see anything happening at all, because if 7 points was acceptable to you at 12 o'clock today, it would be acceptable to you at 5 o'clock. Therefore, a win for Giovanni Van Bronckhorst and the win for Celtic, and the gap remaining at 7, I think it's status quo. You go into cold storage for a month, and he will believe that he can hit the reset button. I don't know how that works for you, but he will believe that a month from now, with players back, things can improve.
The big team news was yesterday, of course, Gordon DL, because we knew that Antonio Cholak would miss out and Alfredo Morelos would take his place. How big a blow is it to not have the option? I'm not sure. Cholak's been at his sparkling best in the last couple of games anyway, but still, it's just yet another injury for Rangers at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah, the injury list is growing, Gordon. That's why I think the World Cups came at a good time for Rangers, and obviously the manager, if he can get through today. I'm totally on board with you. I think that if he can get through today with a result, then his job will be okay. It doesn't help. I think going into this day, when you really need a victory, if I was a manager, I would probably hope that Cholak was fit. I know Morelos has been the big time player for them, but he's offered absolutely nothing this season. His fitness is absolutely appalling. Cholak can get you goals at vital times in the game. He's shown that. But Morelos is up top. It's a chance for him to go out there and kickstart his career again until the end of the season, to decide what he's doing with his contract, whether he'll be a Rangers player or not. But he's got to contribute something this season to the club for me.
Yeah, Mark, is this, how big a day is this for Alfredo Morelos?
Well, of course it is, because Hugh put it quite rightly. He was irreplaceable before. He was the golden boy of Rangers. He was price tag put in his head that was millions of pounds. He's went dramatically backwards, but now he's got an opportunity. He's been gifted this opportunity from Cholak's bad fortune. He has to play or rediscover some of the form that he showed in previous years, where even if he isn't scoring goals, he is still contributing to the side. And I think that's been the disappointing thing for him, that when he hasn't started, he's got that persona anyway that looks like he's sulking, but he's not properly contributing from the front when he's not scoring. Today it's got to be different, and that goes for all the Rangers players actually. They need to show that they're contributing and pulling their weight in the one direction for the Rangers manager, or the Rangers manager will be in severe trouble come the end of this 90 minutes.
Alfredo Morelos believes, in my opinion, that the show is all about him. Nothing is more important than Alfredo Morelos. Well, today he has to consider what his contribution will mean to his manager, primarily, his team, and the club, because there will be disarray if Rangers lose this match today, and the fans will start with the manager, go on to the board, and then start to think about individuals in the team. But Alfredo Morelos has got to be a team player today.
Am I missing something, Andrew McLean? You know these things more than me. Your finger's on the pulse. I'll put pressure on you. Is this Alfredo Morelos' first league start of the season?
Yeah, it is Alfredo Morelos' first league start of the season. He's not played much at all. We've seen him come off the bench. I think he scored against Kilmarnock. Apart from that, he's really not played much. He's been playing second fiddle, as we know, to Antonio Cholak. I was at Ibrox midweek. I thought he looked more like himself when he came off the bench, but when he has had the opportunity so far this season, he's not taken it. So it is a big day for Alfredo Morelos today.
He does have 3 league goals, remember, Kilmarnock, Hearts and Aberdeen all off the bench. So a first league start, Gordon, when you get to the 12th of November, even that in itself is incredible. Now I know there have been disciplinary issues to a point, fitness issues, Cholak in form. It's just all round, generally speaking, remarkable to think we've got to mid-November and Alfredo Morelos starts his first league game.
We'd never have thought that at the end of last season, Gordon. He was the number one striker. He was the guy. He was the main man. Hugh's right. He would come out there. He knew that. He strutted about. But to be fair to him, he produced. Right. So you got to give the lad credit. He produced. This season, he's been abysmal. He really has. His fitness levels have been poor for a professional player that's playing with Rangers. His first league start of the season, which tells everything. I know that obviously there's other issues in there, but he's got to step up to the mark. You just can't see out your contract and see it out week by week and sit on the bench and just be happy to do that. As much as he's been terrific for Rangers, and he has been terrific for Rangers, he still owes the club to go out there now, because he's getting paid a hefty wage to go out there and produce. No better time today. Look, would I be surprised if Morelos knocks in a couple this afternoon? Absolutely not, because he's got it in his locker. But he's got to make sure he does it and produce. He's now playing for his future though, and I don't think he's ever been in that situation. He's always looked like he's playing for a move. Now there's nothing wrong with that, because I suppose every player in Scotland's like that, and he was doing fine. But now he finds himself in a different situation where his contract's running out. And you wonder where the move's coming from, and you even wonder if Rangers would take the gamble come the end of the season to pay him huge wages to be second fiddle to another striker. So that's why today is so important. Gives a message the last game that I'm still here, and when I come back in 4 weeks' time, I'm going to make sure I'm trim, I'm fit, I'm going to challenge Cholak. He'll get a move, Mark. He'll get a move. I know that you might argue that he'll not get the move that he thought he'd get maybe a season, 2 seasons ago, when he was top dog, knocking in the goals left, right and centre, playing well in the European campaign as well. But it doesn't matter if he goes through from now to the end of his contract. Some club will come and take him, because he's got ability, he can score goals. Yes, you've got to have the right attitude. My question mark for him is, I still think he owes Rangers something just now, and I think he owes, if he's got any thoughts of the manager, because he knows that the manager and every player in that dressing room will know the manager is under severe pressure today.
My question back to you, Gordon, would be, why on the 12th of November are we still discussing his fitness, and you, former player and manager, can say that in your estimation he still looks clearly unfit? Why? How can that be the case? Why have Rangers allowed him to be this way?
Hugh, I tell you what, I think not just yourself, myself, Mark, Gordon, standing, I think there's thousands of Rangers fans out there asking the same question. Why is this allowed to happen? Why was you allowed to come back in the shape or whatever? Okay, you've got to discipline him the right way, but he's got to have the attitude to say, right, I'm going to go back, I'm going to work, I'm going to get my sharpness back. Cholak's come in, he's took my number one spot. That's a challenge to me. I'm up for that challenge. I'll show everybody I'm the number one striker. So maybe today we'll kick-start that, because as Andrew said the other night there when he come on again, he looked a bit more livelier. It's up to him today to go out there and produce the goods.
Andrew McLean, obviously the headline absentee is Antonio Cholak. Where is Ben Davies? Do we know?
It's a very good question, because I was at Giovanni Van Bronckhorst's pre-match press conference yesterday. He was asked about injuries. He said Antonio Cholak wouldn't be available, said nothing about Ben Davies, so either he didn't know at that point that Ben Davies was going to be out, or possibly he was not wanting to reveal too much at that point. But it does mean that James Sands is having to move back into that back four alongside Leon King, so it's not an experienced backline. It's going to be a big task for them, because we saw Jonah Ayunga and Curtis Main, that real physical presence that caused Celtic real problems here when St Mirren beat them. So it's going to be a real task for those two, certainly filling in for not only Ben Davies but Cora Goldson, who's been out for a long time as well.
That'll be a frustration for Rangers fans as well, Gordon. I bow to my learned friend Hugh Keevins, who says that he doesn't think it's a huge loss, but maybe that's not quite the point. Rangers fans at the moment are just scratching their heads as to why there's so few players that seem to be fit and available all the time. If it's not long term ones, it's guys like Davis who come back for a game or two, then miss a couple, then come back. They will feel like they've seen this before with guys like Kamar Roof and various others, and then you've got the long term ones. Look, maybe it's just a one game thing. Maybe he's no feeling well this morning and he'll be absolutely fine for the rest of the season. But I can see on social media already lots of Rangers fans saying, where's Ben Davies this time?
Yeah, I think other clubs will certainly have no sympathy for Rangers because of the size of the squad. But if you look at Rangers just solely, it is a big blow. The amount of players, Lawrence, for me, I thought looked the part when he kicked off his Rangers career. Shooter is one game or whatever, he's never fit. Roof, Hadji's been a miss as well. I think he's a creative player that could certainly help Rangers just now. Davis has been brought up with this big reputation. It looked like he was going to form a partnership. All of a sudden, Golson, who we now realise, and I think a lot of Rangers supporters realise how important he is to the back line, he's missing. Hilander, we're forgetting people like that. So they've got an abundance of experienced, good players, Gordon, that will certainly help them if they can get this World Cup, the break, get them back fit, get them ready, get them sharp to go into the next part of the next season after the World Cup. But you're right, there's a big injury list at Rangers, but I'm not making excuses because they've still got enough quality in that team.
As for St Mirren, Mark, do they have the blueprint now? Andrew mentioned that you look at that front two, you would expect a similar intent to what they did against Celtic. Is that the game plan now? I
think so. It's your best bet. Now, when it's so fresh in your memory against Celtic mid-September, then I think you go with that sort of game plan again. Now, if you're looking at Ben Davies, an experienced player, being out, and you're looking at a midfielder and Sands having to go back there, and Leon King, who's, I think, having a difficult period for Rangers. I think he's a good player, but he's going through a difficult period. Then if I'm Main and Ayunga, I'm getting round it, I'm making it as hard as possible for them. I'm going to be physical round about them like they did against Celtic, and they got their reward. So for the Rangers backline, I think they're going to be tested, but St Mirren have to play to their strengths and get the ball up to them.
Just quickly on Ben Davies, I believe just before the game Giovanni Van Bronckhorst said he's fine, but with so many games in a short time, he was a bit short for today. We're hopeful yesterday that he would make it, but decided this morning it was best not to play him. Says Giovanni Van Bronckhorst. Again, Hugh, just because you beat Celtic doesn't give you any guarantees whatsoever that you can go and do the same against Rangers, but it will be surely the main source of belief, hope, confidence amongst those St Mirren players today.
Yeah, they have to look at that and think, never would you have imagined that King and Sands would be the central defensive partnership at any stage of this season, but circumstances have made it so. As well as the two up front, I also look at Mark O'Hara, who scored for me the goal of the season in midweek against St Johnstone. He also scored against Celtic when St Mirren beat Celtic. He poses a clear and present danger to Rangers. So it's all set for an intriguing game. I can only hope that VAR plays no part in it.
Listen, let's cross that bridge when we inevitably come to it. We'll hear from both managers right now then. St Mirren manager Stephen Robinson, straight into Giovanni van Bronckhorst.
Yeah, we believe wherever we go. I think it's a wee bit of an anomaly, the home and away records. I spoke about it yesterday. We've looked at all the statistics. We concede less crosses away from home. We have more possession away from home. We create more chances away from home, but we win games at home. So there's no real rhyme or reason. Sometimes we've been punished for errors. It's something that we work on, and we can reduce that by 50%, the individual mistakes. The penalties, 7 penalties in 14 games is a hard one to take, but there's not a whole lot you can do about it with the handball rule. So we have to keep working, keep doing what we're doing. I don't think we're very far away at all. We're joint fifth, and we go into the game quietly confident. When we're at home, we believe we can take the game to Rangers.
A different type of pressure altogether on the visiting boss, Giovanni van Bronckhorst.
We played so many games against teams who have a low block, and against St Johnstone we create so many chances to score. I think the quality of our chances could have been better in that game, especially our positions and our energy and runs we put in the final third of the pitch. On Wednesday was much better, especially second half. We gave so many chances to score with good intentions and good attacks. So that will be the same.
What a way to kick off a 6-game Saturday in the Premiership. Kick-off at St Mirren against Rangers is coming next.
Action as it happens, and your reaction from 5 on the open line. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
And now just a quick note from our podcast sponsor Lookers, the new name for Taggarts across Glasgow and the West. We are proud to announce that Lookers is now the new name for Taggarts. Taggarts has been part of the Lookers Motor Group for nearly 20 years, and over time, being part of one of the largest multi-franchise dealer groups in the UK and Ireland, has helped Taggarts to provide a great customer experience, value and choice to their customers across Scotland, and that's something that will never change. And now, they've decided though to change the name above the door to move forward as one. You'll find the same great service and friendly faces you've come to know at their Jaguar, Land Rover and Volvo showrooms, working hard to give the best experience every time. You can now browse and shop online for your next car at lookers.co.uk and choose from thousands of used cars in stock with home delivery available. You can also discover the latest new car offers, book a test drive and book your next service online. Although the name has changed above the door, everything else is staying exactly the same, and you can still expect the same great service and friendly faces when you visit in store. Lookers, the new name for Taggarts across Glasgow and the West.
If you're worried that your mortgage payments could go up, it's helpful to know that you can arrange to switch your Barclays mortgage up to 180 days before your current one ends. One way you can do this is in the Barclays app. Your new rate will then apply as soon as your existing rate expires. Simple. For more money help, including other ways to switch your mortgage, search Barclays Cost of Living. Barclays. Make money work for you. Subject to application, financial circumstances and borrowing history. T's and C's apply. 18+. Your home may be repossessed if you do not keep up repayments on your mortgage.
Compare cheap car insurance quotes that really do cut the mustard at mustard.co.uk. Details online, authorised and regulated by the Financial Conduct Authority.
Here come the teams in Paisley. Andrew McLean.
Yeah, a big travelling support over to my right. St Mirren used to give Celtic and Rangers both ends behind the goals for these games, but they've changed that this season, so that has allowed more St Mirren fans to get in for this game as well. But as you say, the teams are out shaking hands at the moment. I'll go through the starting 11s for St Mirren. Trevor Carson in goal for them. The back three: Marcus Fraser, Declan Gallagher and Charles Dunn. Ryan Strange the right wing back, Scott Tanser the left wing back, Greg Kiltie, Ethan Erahon and Mark O'Hara, the three central midfielders. Jonah Ayunga and Curtis Main up top. As for Rangers, Alan McGregor in goal for them. The back four: James Tavernier, Leon King, James Sands and Borna Barisic. The two holding midfielders: John Lundstrom and Glenn Kamara, Scott Wright, Malik Tillman and Ryan Kent. In behind Alfredo Morelos, who comes in for the injured Antonio Cholak today. Giovanni van Bronckhorst knows the only way to help ease pressure is to win games, and this is a real chance for him and the Rangers players to give some positivity heading into the World Cup break. Anything less than a win will leave huge question marks hanging over his head during the top flight shutdown. He's confident that once the break is over and as more players back from injury that they can kick on, but a draw or a defeat here and he might not even be at the club at that point. St Mirren really awkward opponents too. Stephen Robinson's found success as well at St Mirren in recent times, so much so that he's been linked with a Luton Town job this month. But I will hand back to the studio as we go to enter a minute's silence.
Yes, minute's silence taking place in Paisley, like many of the grounds around the country today. So we'll cross back to the studio. In the meantime, we'll maybe try and squeeze in one other chat with Andrew McLean just prior to kick-off. I'll tell you what, why don't you three give me your hopeless predictions at the moment then?
I will give you St Mirren 1, Rangers 3.
I'll go for St Mirren 1, Rangers 2.
I'll go for St Mirren 1, Rangers 2.
We'll go full house then. I think all three of you think Rangers are going to win. By the way, someone out there has been collecting your pre-match predictions. I'm going to tell you who the best tipster is in this studio in the not too distant future.
We already know who's bottom.
Well, listen, just you wait and find out. This is the dedication that our listeners put into this show, because we know we've got someone who collects the Beat the Pundit statistics, a mystery man, and now someone else, Derek, has been collecting your predictions on a Saturday.
Derek will want to wave it in front of us at the end of the season and say,
Derek could come
this
out
is
then.
how much these guys know.
What I would say is it's a lot closer than I thought it would be, because I thought just statistical randomness, it would be sort of all over the place, because let's be honest, none of you really know what you're talking about. But
could you be not?
Between two of you it's close, we'll say.
Right.
I'm not leaving much to the imagination there, I can't
See
imagine.
Van Bottom, I'll be distraught.
But anyway,
he's loving that. It's the only reason he's building this up.
Why? No, I think
I'm down.
doing all right.
What makes you say that? I
love
enjoy ridiculing Hugh every bit as much as I enjoy ridiculing
no,
you.
you're just this is me written all over it.
Honestly, Balotelli over there.
Yeah, isn't that why
Such
always
a
me?
victim
Why always
constantly.
me? T-shirt.
He's so paranoid about things, isn't he?
Why always me?
It really is, I must say, it's remarkable. So not quite ready to kick off in Paisley yet, a little bit behind the 12:30 that we expected, which is a bit unusual, I think, for a live television game. They've usually got it kicked off pretty much bang on time, but we're now a couple of minutes late. There's a lone piper out there at the centre circle at the Smythe Stadium, both sets of players standing, and I think we are just about ready to go. Andrew McLean.
Yeah, a very well observed minute's silence, and now all focus turns to the football. Rangers will definitely need to put in a better attacking display than they showed away to St Johnstone last weekend. They'll need to be more clinical than they were against Hearts midweek, and all eyes will turn to the likes of Ryan Kent. Can he produce more moments like he did in the build-up to Malik Tillman's goal midweek? And Alfredo Morelos, a huge day for him as well in his first league start of the season, and we are underway in Paisley.
Clyde One Super Scoreboard Goal Flashes with Clyde Built Home Improvements. Trade accounts available now. Call them today.
This is it then, game one of a 6-game, 6-hour special here on Clyde One Super Scoreboard on our final weekend of top flight action before the World Cup break. It's like bittersweet, isn't it, Hugh Keevins? I'm sad that this is the last one. I'm going to miss the domestic game. It's hard to get overly enthusiastic about this World Cup for a number of reasons. Let's just hope we finish on a high then and give ourselves plenty to reflect on during this break.
It's not often you can say this, but there has never been a season like this. Never have we adjourned in the month of November for a 5-week period coming back on December 15. We've got so much controversy going on within our game. We've got Giovanni Van Bronckhorst's position at Ibrox. We've got VAR controversies every weekend and midweek. We've got Ange Postecoglou saying that he hopes VAR does not influence the outcome of our major competition. And now, after today, it all goes on the back burner. It's quite astonishing, but we have to get on with it.
Yeah, St Mirren are the team that started on the front foot. Mark O'Hara got a bit of space on the edge of the box. He couldn't get his shot away, and then St Mirren sort of half-hearted claims for a penalty, but I think play had already been stopped for something else. The only thing that might concern, and I think it's probably James Sand's good fortune that play had been stopped for something else, Gordon, because Ayunga gets there in front of him, and by the way, that's a complete accident.
Yeah.
You have sympathy for James Sands, but you've seen those ones before where someone nicks in front and you end up kicking the back of their heel.
Yeah, but it's a good start from St Mirren. Obviously their tactic today is get the ball up front, really test the two centre backs, because King and Sands ain't the first pairing for Rangers at the back. Let's be honest about it. Sands preferably as a midfield player. King is just learning his trade. You seen it the minute the ball went out for a throw in. St Mirren, no hesitation, get it in the mixer and ask some questions.
Don't mean to be boring and pour water on all the the hype and speculation that this could be really tough for Rangers, because it still could, Mark. But is it easy to forget when you've got these turbulent times that Rangers still have to be considerably off it and St Mirren still have to be considerably at it? That's just the way it is. Let's not be selective about this. We've spent weeks whinging about budgets and so on in the Champions League. You still need quite a lot to happen for Rangers not to win this game.
You need Rangers to be off their game considerably, I think, because you look at the quality of players individually throughout that Rangers side, still good players, just not playing well together now is the problem. And St Mirren need to play at the top of their game and hope for a bit of luck within that as well. But it's been a bright opening for both sides. Rangers getting the ball into the box, great defending the back post. I think it was Strain that was it, just turning it behind. But Rangers, wee bit of pressure on them. We seen this last week though. Rangers, what did they have in the first half? Something like 12 corners in the first 5 minutes or something like that, and didn't make it count. They've had another couple here first opening.
I mean, we go on and on about Giovanni Van Bronckhorst and his situation, and of course we do, because he's the manager of one of the two biggest clubs in the country, and they always come under greater scrutiny. But these Rangers players must be aware of the situation they are in. They must be aware that if they were to drop points today and Celtic beat Ross County, they're in deep trouble. So it's time for players to take responsibility and not get into the comfort zone of saying, well, it doesn't matter about us, he'll get it, the manager will get it.
I agree with you, Hugh. I do think that obviously the buck stops at the manager, but the players have got to take the responsibility as well, because they're representing the club, they're trying to keep themselves in this league title. Because you're right, if they lose today and Celtic win 10 points, nobody's backing Celtic to lose that lead. Of course they're not. Probably the manager will go, there'll be changes, a new manager come in, fresh ideas. So these players really need to step up to the mark today. They've got the ability, let's not be kidded, they've got the ability. St Mirren,
there's another penalty claim for St Mirren, and we know we've got a certain system now that allows these things to be looked at, in case you hadn't heard. So once the ball goes dead, or right now the VAR will be in Clydesdale House, just having a look, seeing if there's anything that Kevin Clancy needs to be told about that incident. Play's certainly going on. St Mirren players are getting on with it, Rangers players getting on with it. I don't actually feel like it was a huge claim.
I don't think so, but if I was Stephen Robinson, I think I'd be disappointed in my players. I thought the St Mirren player closest, maybe Curtis Main, stopped thinking it may have been a foul instead of going for the ball. I think it did look a bit soft, right enough.
Lundstrom just taking off his toe on the edge of the box. It's been nice, but scrappy at the edge of the St Mirren box. Kevin Clancy letting a couple of things go, which is fine.
It's been played at a good pace, Gordon. I've got to say it's a good start to the game. It's a good tempo. Both teams try to get the ball forward down the left hand side. Kent here looking for a big game off of him. I heard a few Rangers supporters saying a little bit improvement.
Slip.
In trouble here.
St Mirren are in here, and it's Glenn Kamara trying to get back, and luckily for him it's a terrible touch from Curtis Main. Curtis Main was through on goal if his touch was good.
I don't think he was a pace.
Far from it.
I thought he was running back the way. I don't think he was a pace.
Wrong player, wrong position. Curtis Main,
he's
not his game.
He's not an absolute slouch though.
No, but he was never running away from Kamara there. Kamara had him in his sights.
Touch.
Look, if his touch was better, he could have taken it
keeping his
across
body in front of him. That's
the
point. Alright, by the way, that challenge, I think it was outside the box anyway, and as we know, VAR can't give anything outside the box. It's a penalty shout anyway. We've all seen it back. Any complaints?
Nope.
No.
So we don't even really need to assess whether it was a foul on Greg Kiltie.
Kiltie was going down.
It needs to be inside the box.
To go back to the point about responsibility and the players taking responsibility, and instead of letting Giovanni Van Bronckhorst be the whipping boy all the time. The one thing that characterises...
it's lovely from Malik Tillman, edge of the box, and he's hit it wide. There was a nutmeg that set up the shot, and he's just dragged it slightly wide of Trevor Carson's right hand post.
Got to do better for me there. I think he opens up a great position for himself. Great wee nutmeg. I think
it's off balance.
Yeah. I think still, Gordon. I think with I don't know why he is off balance, because it's not like, you know.
I think it's because it's a bit of a surprise nutmeg, Mark, if that makes any sense.
If he's meant that as an exceptional piece of play, but I think it is a surprise. But he's in the middle of the, the 18-yard box, just at the edge. He opens up, I think, and he looks to give the goalie the eyes, but he needs to hit the target there. In
some ways, he does the right thing where he doesn't try and blast it. He probably can place it from there.
Because he's got time. He's actually, nobody's closing him down or throwing their bodies in front of it. He should hit the target.
Just to finish the point about responsibility, the one thing that characterises Celtic is that no matter what happens, the loss of the captain, Callum McGregor, for a long period of time, the loss of Carl Starfelt for a long period of time, the loss of Jota for a fairly long period of time, they have withstood all of those blows and continued to win matches. The Rangers players, like Perth last Sunday, can occasionally just look as if they don't have the same mental resilience.
I would agree with that. I mean, I did have a little chuckle at Van Bronckhorst said we need this break, and I get that he's got injuries into key players, but you imagine David Martindale or Liam Fox or any other manager in this league looking at him going, well, you've played the same, you've got a large squad that you should be able to bring in quality replacements to help you win games and to keep performances at a high level. Rangers have not done that, and you kind of say, oh, we need the break. Yeah, you'll get one or two players back, but you need to be realistic. You should still be performing much better.
Yeah, St Mirren looking to just put one in, but it's a heavy ball from Mark O'Hara, and out it goes. So a man called Derek FM88 on Twitter has been collecting your hopeless predictions, as I call them, every single week on the show, and it's remarkably tight at the top. If we're going by win percentage, someone has 52.5% correct. You get 1 and 2 predictions right. It's not great. And someone else has 52.17. Extremely close.
And what's the other dud got?
39.
Get him out of the studio right now.
There is only one man who could possibly be bottom of the predictor
Shaggy
table.
boy.
It's the birthday boy. Happy birthday, by the way, Hugh Keevins.
Thank you.
Happy birthday, Hugh.
If you want to head over to Twitter and give Hugh your best, kindest, warmest birthday regards, please do. I'll read the best ones out. He is how old today? He telling
73.
73.
Looking
what a
good, isn't it?
fantastic innings. The birthday boy is bottom. 39% of his predictions right.
I think that's quite high for me.
But that's at 20 to 5.
In game win
52.17 to Gordon Dalziel and 52.5, so you're just ahead, but barely worth talking about in percentage terms.
ahead. That's to get the job done.
Because you've been off a couple of weeks, so you've actually got more correct. He has. You've actually got more correct than him.
Yeah.
But in percentage terms, he's edged you.
I hate their percentage.
And
terms.
Hugh, I've saved it till last. The birthday gift. Derek does also point out, though, when it comes to correct scores, you're the only man who's predicted correct scores this season.
Well, there you are.
So there we go. Well done. So you are a winner in one regard, certainly. And happy birthday again.
Thank you.
No expense spared, by the way.
Bakewell tart.
We've gone for some petrol station Bakewell tarts. And what do you call those other things again?
Battenberg.
Is that what they're called?
Yeah.
And a lovely card with a nice wee badge on it. So
No chocolate, that's the boys.
30 years experience in here, and you get a Bakewell tart.
I did expect better.
I know they
from
talk about
whoever
a
brought them
golden
in.
watch. Well, listen, we've got. Sometimes it's
Listen,
an
today,
early start. I had to patch these things together.
today I can literally have my cake and eat it.
Exactly. Anyway, right, where are we? Over 10 minutes gone in Paisley. Not a great deal to tell you about. The best chance probably is Malik Tillman.
Yeah.
Edge of the box, drags it wide. St Mirren will feel fine, I think, about the way that they've got up the pitch, but they've not really managed to make much of it yet. So
Can certainly see Curtis Main handful, strong, powerful. They're trying to get the ball to him as much as possible and get bodies round about him. They've just not been able to create any clear-cut chances.
He's a proper bully type of striker, isn't he, Gordon? But not in the disrespectful way. He's just so physical.
I think he loves the battle. Listen, I said earlier, and I wasn't being disrespectful, but he was never running away from Kamara. That's not his game. He likes to be in round about the box. He likes balls into his chest, his feet. He likes to go and fight with the centre half.
Now there's that man Alfredo Morelos. There's been a lot of focus on him pre-match. One just gets rolled down the side of the box. We know he's not shy to shoot. We've seen him do this many times. He sort of slices it wide.
That's ambitious.
He's on the corner of the box,
But to
the
be fair,
18-yard box.
There isn't another Rangers player up there with him.
That's meant to be what he does, though, isn't it? It's kind of, people say he's better at holding it up and bringing other people in.
I know we can sometimes make a lot of this, but I think last year, our season's gone by, and Morelos would have taken that in, faced up the defender, try to move, manipulate the ball a wee bit, and then shot. That was almost like, I'm just shooting for the sake of shooting here. He's almost in the corner of the box on the swivel. It's going to take something extraordinary to score for there.
Is it the case though? If you don't buy a ticket, you can't win the raffle.
Yeah, I think
maybe some raffle.
So he does always hit shots quite early, though, doesn't he? And quite ambitious at times. I know what you're saying. Maybe last season he tries to stand up.
I think within the yardage of the goalposts. Yeah, I can see it. He's almost at the corner of the 18-yard box.
He was bang on the corner. Really.
That's a bit wide, and I'd expect him to take that and try and move it a bit closer.
Is that the mark of a player who knows he's had a poor season? The confidence is not what it used to be.
Perhaps. By the way, it was a good move from Rangers actually. Into Kamara, plenty of space, and then it's a good run for Morelos, but the end product just needs to be better.
Anyway, any big birthday plans for later?
Daughter's house.
Strictly come dancing and a glass of red.
Well, the nasty rumour about the jungle thing. I'm a celebrity.
You'll see Gordon Dale's lookalike Chris Moyles on there, so
I
that's
wouldn't
good.
see any of it because I'll be locked.
There's been a slip by St Mirren. It's allowed Scott Wright into the box. I'm not sure if it was Morelos or the defender that sent it back, but it's not clear yet. And eventually scrambled away by Stephen Robinson's side.
I think Rangers are getting this game by the throat now. They really are swarming all over St Mirren, knocking on the proverbial door, and it has the look of a door that might open very soon.
Yeah, great ball, James Tavernier, but Trevor Carson comes, and is it Morelos taking a sore one, or is it just the way he's fallen?
But I'll tell you what, it's a terrific ball. It really is from Tavernier. Great ball in there. He's expecting someone to try and get on the end of it. A little bit like the St John. I thought Rangers last week dominated the early stages of the St Johnstone game. First goal, that may just be the big turning point here. If Rangers can get it, then I think that confidence would just come through the team. And but if St Mirren get it, all of a sudden you're asked big questions.
Yeah, Morelos trying to make something happen as the ball goes up to his feet, but he loses it. I feel like every year on your birthday I'm duty bound to remind you of the time we spent your birthday in London.
Yes.
Every year, I'll never get tired of it. Can you imagine the scene? We've gone to Wembley to work. Scotland have been battered 3-0 by England. It's late. It is very, very late. By the time you've got back from Wembley, you've made your way back to the hotel. It's the guy's birthday, for goodness sake. And he's looking forward to nothing more than a glass of red in the hotel to round off his birthday. I said I would even think about buying it for him. And we get there, the Tartan Army have got a bit rowdy in the bar. The bar is shut in the hotel. They've shut it early, and he has to go to his bed without his glass of red on his birthday. So can you imagine the look on his face?
Let me tell you, this man's full experience. This guy would have went up the stair, he'd have had a nice bottle sitting in his room.
Not at all.
No,
he's
you're
not
not
prepared
prepped.
enough.
No,
Hugh, come on.
Hugh.
That's a schoolboy era.
It was, yeah.
You never know who chaps the door. You've always got to be welcome.
That's where you and him are very different, and I think we leave it there because Malik Tillman's won a free kick in the middle of the pitch. It was actually great work by Ryan Kent to win it back. I think St Mirren maybe fueled Tillman, made the most of it, but there was a good chance for Rangers a few moments ago. Barisic's cross, Scott Wright of all people does really well to get up with the header, and he does a lot right. He gets it down, but unfortunately it goes to the legs of Trevor Carson, and maybe that's now the best chance we've had of the game.
I thought that was a great chance, and I don't think that you can put any blame at Scott. I think Scott Wright does the perfect thing there, gets up above the defender, good header down, but good goalkeeping from Trevor Carson. He just spreads himself and makes a save.
Rangers look at this, so I was going to say I thought they had launched another attack, but the Kevin Clancy's given a free kick to St Mirren for, I think, James Sands coming through the back of Curtis Main. Rangers giving it a good go now though, Mark.
Yeah, they certainly are, and they're running over the top of St Mirren. Stephen Robinson needs to be careful here now. He's playing 5, but in the wide areas Rangers are getting so much freedom. Barisic a couple of crosses that Wright probably should score there. We've seen Tavernier the other side. He's almost saying his 3 centre halves defend the box, but incredibly difficult to do that for 90 minutes, you know, cross after cross in the middle of the pitch as well. Lundstrom and Kamara are getting a lot of space, so Rangers firmly on top just now.
Yeah, I don't think any real complaints about that free kick. James Sands clearly catches Curtis Main on the way through, doesn't he?
Yeah,
given where that is, I mean, it's in the opposition half. Is that the worst? If you're Giovanni Van Bronckhorst, are you at least encouraged that James Sands is not scared to get close? And look, I know it's a foul, you can't keep doing that all afternoon, but
yeah, James Sands will know that he'll have to stand up to Curtis May. Yeah, he's got to go there and go toe to toe with him and decide, look, I'm the centre back here, I'm going to dictate who's winning this battle. This battle's all over the pitch, Gordon. You've got to stand up and be counted. And Sands is just putting a wee marker there to say, listen, I'm up for this challenge if that's the way you're going to go about your business. But that'll be interesting this afternoon.
I think, to be fair, Rangers, for all that Cholak goes out, Davies is a late withdrawal, they have settled into this game and they are dominating, bossing St Mirren.
Some really nice words, Hugh. I was surprised actually, some really kind stuff coming in for you on Twitter for your birthday. Hatati Scone says, there once was a man named Hugh who tried to be honest and true. His predictions were gash, his observations were trash, and I think he belongs on Clyde too. Happy birthday, Shug.
Thanks very much. See what you feel.
Warm.
Yeah.
That's what I'm taking away from that.
As warm as Alaska.
I would actually enjoy you to be on Clyde too, having your own music programme.
Oh yeah,
dulcet tones at 10 o'clock at night.
Oh, yeah,
you know, just
that's really
10
what people
o'clock at night,
need.
isn't he?
10 o'clock at night playing a bit of
Joni
Hank
Mitchell,
Williams.
Tony Bennett, Van Morrison, Leonard
By the way,
Cohen.
I think there's mileage in that, Hugh.
Yeah.
Speak to the bosses.
Leonard Cohen and Joni Mitchell.
No, him.
You need people to
Him
try and
being the
enjoy
voice of it. With a glass of red in the
You'd
studio.
hear him would be there's another one I'm playing for.
Just getting more slaughtered as the night goes on.
If this is
Dean Martin, little old Widron
if this tickles your fancy, it's Man City 0, Brentford 1.
Oh,
Ivan Toney. That's not a bad way to remind everyone that you feel you should be going to the World Cup, is it?
Yeah, surprising it was left out.
I'm sure I read a stat there that every single member of Man City's starting 11 is going to the World Cup apart from Haaland. He's the superstar, and he's the one that's not going.
That'll do him good, having a wee rest, will it? Not that he needs it, right enough. Rangers St Mirren are just struggling to get to grips with Rangers' movement, especially Tillman in the midfield.
Brilliant from Tillman, drives into the box. He maybe there's nothing in that really, is there? If he feels he was fouled, but I don't think there's ever a chance of that being given.
the one thing that, you know, last Sunday in Perth, Rangers, they were a fairly soft touch on the day, but this is they're moving the ball about well, they're full of intent. If you're a Rangers supporter, and I know they now boo automatically if it's 0-0 at half time, but if you're a Rangers supporter in Paisley or watching on television, you have to concede that they're.
I wonder though, right, because there is sometimes a danger that we rewrite these things. Rangers were well on top in Perth in the first half last week.
Yeah,
no, they were,
but couldn't put the ball in the net.
No, but they're not done that today yet either.
I think they look better this afternoon, me personally, than they did against St Johnstone. Yeah, sharper, they're finding areas in the pitch.
Yeah, that's not a criticism. That's not me criticising today. I just feel like at half time last week people said that they were quite sharp in that first half, but maybe they've already created more clear cut than they did that day.
Well, again, you know, they were on top of Hearts first half midweek, and the booing still came at half time because it was 0-0. And I don't know if it will happen here, if it's still 0-0 after 45 minutes, but they look to me to be strangling St Mirren.
Just like that St Mirren's, can you call it a chance there? But the tactics, so Dunn gets the ball left centre half on the halfway line, big diagonal, Main takes a charge at it and gets inside Sands. It's a header for 18 yards. You can clearly see what they're trying to pinpoint, but maybe a wee bit too far out to trouble McGregor with that sort of stuff.
Yeah, it's really well done by Mark O'Hara, the captain for St Mirren today. Just steals in good strength, robs Glenn Kamara and draws a foul. He's scored in his last two games as well, Mark O'Hara, so he's doing a bit of everything for St Mirren at the moment.
He certainly scored a cracker the other night there.
Good free kick, wasn't it?
That was a great free kick.
Did you hear this?
No.
Gordon Dale was waxing lyrical about Mark O'Hara's goal. He gave it his goal of the midweek, and then elaborated by saying what a good free kick it was.
Just shows you how good it was, Hugh. It had me baffled. But he's certainly got it in his locker. He's a decent player, Mark O'Hara. I think given the captaincy as well gives him a wee bit more confidence and that bit more belief. He's certainly got that. He can pack a punch. Let's be honest.
Pack a punch. Wow.
Yeah.
And of course he's one of the many getting the band back together members that Stephen Robinson's doing.
Yeah.
There's Charles
Is
Dunn.
Is Charles Dunn the lad that sat in your chair that night? Mark and I were at your house. Is that Charles Dunn?
Oh, when we did the show live from my living room, that was Charles
Charlie?
Dunn. Yeah, he came and took part in the show in my living room, didn't he?
Charlie was there.
Charles Dunn, Richard Tate, Declan Gallagher, Curtis Main, Mark O'Hara, Keith Lasley
Upstairs,
in the boardroom.
yeah.
So there's a few. But Curtis Main, one of them, he's just drawn a foul again from, is it Sands again? No, Barisic this time.
I suppose with managers, you've got players that you can trust, hang your hat on if you have a level of success for them, and that's what Stephen Robertson is doing here with this team.
Curtis Main's been in the wars already. He's
just a big boy.
The Rangers players clearly know that they're maybe going to have to do that to him at times.
But there's players who don't enjoy that, who would shy away from it. I think he thrives on that. I think he thrives on the battle, like Daz was saying there. I just think the balls and up to him, they maybe need to get loans from our Kamara to sit in front of Sands or King. I think they're dealing with it okay just now. You just don't want to keep inviting it onto you.
See,
how frustrating, Gordon, is it with that free kick, for instance? You know what St Mirren's game plan is, so they've got one to put into the box. It's a very simple one to put in the box, really, and somehow it's a sort of sliced delivery and it doesn't even reach the penalty box.
Well, if you're going to
Tillman heads it clear.
Yeah, if you're going to have that tactic, Gordon, you've got to have a bit of end product as right.
Yeah, what a run that is from Scott Wright, but he's dragged his shot wide.
Yeah, on his not on his favourite left foot, but great run, very positive, good link-up play with Rangers. He gets his head down, goes by the defender, decides to go left foot, sclaffs it a little bit. Not the cleanest contact, but you go back to St Mirren's tactic. Now, if you're going to play that tactic, you need quality. You need quality balls. You need balls into the box that strikers can go and at least have a challenge. I just worry that they go too much with that, because see, if you look in the middle of the park, they've got Kilton there, decent footballer. O'Hara, we've already highlighted what he can bring to the party. They've got to sometimes mix it up, because Rangers will just slap that up.
I don't think any of their midfield three really had any possession. I'm looking at Erhon as well. See, even touched. I've never seen Erhon touch ball in 24 minutes here. Not even to get back and make a challenge. Kilty, no. O'Hara, not really. They're missing him out. But the opposite side, they're not really getting enough bodies up to support them to win the second ball either. So they're almost inviting Rangers, or even when Rangers are in possession, saying that they've won it back here.
We were giving it back, really.
Yeah, Lundstrom won it.
Yeah, the ball's surely going to come into the box this time. But again, if you're Stephen Robinson, it's
got to do better back
there. Yeah,
these are simple deliveries that St Mirren are not managing to produce. Gordon, that's got to be a huge frustration if you're Stephen Robinson.
Yeah, especially when you get into that position there on the right hand side. Gordon, was it Strain? It was on with an opportunity. Put a bit of quality in. But St Mirren's starting to O'Hara's he packs a punch.
Why not?
Mark
Why
O'Hara,
not?
because he's confident after scoring a stunner midweek and scoring last weekend as well. That just never looked like one he was getting on goal, Mark. I can't even really explain why. It just came to him fairly quick at the edge of the box, and
I think he tries to reverse that. He
nearly reversed it to Glasgow Airport.
It would have topped Hugh's goal of the season for the other night from the same player. It's a difficult one to take on, but look, if you're in the form he is, why not?
In Alan McGregor's last 10 games against St Mirren, he's had 10 clean sheets, and it'll be 11 today after shooting like that.
The only thing I will say for Rangers is with their sort of pressure is St Mirren, you're talking about goals against. In the last 3, St Mirren have shipped 8.
Yeah, they are shipping goals.
Yeah, they're shipping goals, so they're going to give up chances, but it's all about timing. It's that first goal. St Mirren haven't really offered a lot here, but all of a sudden, if they got that first goal, 30 minutes or whatever on the clock, something to hold on to half time, it's a different picture. Rangers really need to stamp their authority and get the goal.
Yeah, when we heard Stephen Robinson allude to it this season at home, St Mirren have won 5, drawn 2 and lost 1. It's a brilliant record, whereas away from home it's 1-1, drawn 0, lost 5. The difference is incredible between the two. He says that he doesn't think there's much in it, doesn't think the performances sort of reflect that, but that's the reality.
Exactly, that's why they find themselves 8th in the table today. They need to sort that away form out. Home form, no problem at all. I'm just looking at their tactic here. They're clearly allowing Rangers, when they get the ball in the wider areas, Tavernier and Barisic. I just wonder.
But that is the tactic, isn't it?
Every team does that.
Livy did it and got a point. St Johnstone did it and won. So.
And looking at that and having your 3 centre halves defend the box, I don't know. It's got a different feel to me than Livy and St Johnstone. This one, I think if you allow Rangers to do that, they'll get one before half time here.
Is that a free kick or just a throw in to Rangers on the?
It's a free kick. Strange, obviously taking Kent out of the picture. It was too quick for him. Gave it the inside outside one.
The what, sorry?
The inside outside.
Yeah, he's absolutely done Strain down there on that touchline.
What form of defence is Strain putting up to the referee here?
Yeah.
Does he think the referee's blind?
And that's an argument for that sometimes, Hugh.
I understand that, but not this previous couple of weeks.
That'll be a real frustration for Rangers fans. Ryan Kent's tried to sort of drag it back, flick it down the line, and it just goes out for a throw-in.
Yeah, but we're talking about how Rangers look a bit sharper this afternoon. They've had the best of the play, but then if you put it all together, the goalkeeper's had 1 save from right. Am I correct in that?
Yeah.
With the back post header.
Tillman's got to do better though at the edge of the box, doesn't he?
Well, doesn't hit the target. Right, doesn't hit the target.
It's an equally big chance.
Yeah, but still a lot to do to beat the goalkeeper. Look, I think overall play, and I think Rangers have defended this high ball well until now.
There we are, Curtis Main battering ram, and now St Mirren are in the box. That they're looking for options, and it's flashed across the face. Mark O'Hara couldn't get there, and that is a real big opening for St Mirren. Not a chance, well, it was a chance, but no one got on the end of it. But a really big opportunity for St Mirren there, and it was Curtis Main just working exactly the way people thought he might, just getting his body in, holding it up, laying it down the line. And I think it must have been Strain, was it?
Yeah,
or was
I think
it
so.
Someone else who arrived and flashed it across the face?
I think Strain does well there. He puts it in the right position. Maybe a wee touch off it might have done. I just thought, was it O'Hara at the back post? I thought maybe if he slid, he anticipated a wee bit better and slid in, he might have just got there. But good play from
I
St
thought he was
Mirren.
going to stand it up to the back post for his header. I thought he was in a great position. Certainly good play with St Mirren. As Barisic puts that big ball into the box there.
It's that deep cross though that the Rangers fans want to see a bit less of, probably. That's better as Wright and Tavernier work it. Owen Scott Wright's in here, he's flashed it across, corner kick.
He's terrible defending though. Yeah, Scott Wright, does well there to work it. But if you're a defender and you've got 3 yards to the touchline, you do not let him go to that touchline side. He gambles. Was it done? No, was it Tanzer?
I thought it was done, but
was it done? He needs to close off the touchline. They let right in too easy. Corner to Rangers.
Yeah, corner Rangers. James Tavernier's going to take it short to Scott Wright, maybe working something off the training ground here. It doesn't seem to be done with a great deal of conviction. And that's really slack from Glenn Kamara. Luckily for him, Borna Barisic is able to come over. I just wonder though, was it Bacchus? Felt that he maybe was pulled back a little bit by Kamara. It was Kilty a moment or two ago that flashed that ball across.
No, he's nowhere near that.
He's put too much on it, hasn't he?
Yeah. O'Hara's 6 foot plus. You can slide, diving header, everything. You ain't getting that.
I think he should have slid. It would have looked better.
For the cameras it certainly would, but he's certainly not making contact. The ball was just whipped with too much pace. Got to say, dangerous area for St Mirren.
Just talking about fullbacks crossing it, did you hear that you inadvertently featured on the full-time teaser last night?
Did I?
What was the question? See if I get it right.
It was, well, I'm not going to let you answer them all. It was players that have scored 2 or more, Scottish players that have scored 2 or more Champions League goals. Now, one of them was Barry Robson.
I was going to say, I certainly haven't scored 2 or more Champions League goals.
And Barry Robson's got 2. One was a penalty, another one was a header from a Mark Wilson cross against
Aalborg. By the way, he's got 3.
Does he?
Scored against Barcelona with a big header as well for 18 yards.
No, sorry, that was the one. That's the other one. Sorry, it's 2.
So explain to me why he was an answer then when he only
wasn't.
crossed
I
the
said
ball.
inadvertently featured.
Yeah.
You don't
Right,
listen.
sorry. No, apologies.
It was part of the question.
I hate that if you were an answer and I
Because
wasn't.
we were
Magnificent
speculating as
assist.
to when was Barry Robson's other goal. We could remember Barcelona. What was the other one?
Yeah.
We thought maybe in Moscow or something, and we got a bit confused. And then someone told us it was Aalborg.
Yeah.
Wilson
Were you a
cross.
provider as well?
Oh, I was left back, cut inside, zing,
Chop it.
cross,
You
chopped
chopped.
it.
You were
He headed
famous
it
for
in,
a chop.
and then we went on to lose 2-1. And for the 80th minute on it, I shouldn't laugh. It was
I think
one
it
of the
was-
worst results ever.
I'm not.
The money I lost that
Don't
night.
take much away, but I think most of the work was done by the header. It was one of those crosses.
Was it?
No. Have you seen it?
I watched it. Yeah.
Did you?
Putting a dangerous
It was a
area.
very safe ball into the
Oh,
box.
it was driven. It was zinged in. Yeah.
Anyway, 32 minutes gone. St Mirren 0, Rangers 0.
And that's the most remarkable thing. 32 minutes gone, it's still goalless because Rangers have had plenty of opportunities, small margins. The header from right, 9 times out of 10 it's through the goalkeeper's legs and you're laughing. But this time the goalkeeper managed to spread himself and it's come off his leg.
Yeah, you can probably. I would understand both. Gordon, Rangers have clearly been the better side. And in fact, was that getting
Not
pulled back?
handball, is it?
Ooh,
I
Malik
was
Tillman
going to
is
say,
through
if
on
this
goal.
went through and this went in, I just wondered if it would be pulled back because there was a trip just before that and the St Mirren defender made his way back.
Well, they would go back to the attacking phase of play, wouldn't they? I mean, to be fair, Declan Gallagher,
He's got a hold of
he's
Morelos.
got his hand on Alfredo Morelos rather than
He's the instigator.
the other way around. I mean, eventually Declan Gallagher's tripped.
I think that's a harsh call.
Yeah.
I really do. If
What would
that's
have happened there?
given against Morelos.
That went on and Tillman moves through. What if he puts away? VR brings it back, has a look. Gallagher fouls Morelos first before.
Yeah.
It's the opposite way around.
He's certainly not looking happy about it, Morelos. Or not. He's not one for smiling usually.
That's him happy, is it not? It's the happiest I've seen him.
Yeah, I would keep an eye on that. I don't think we've seen the last of Declan Gallagher and Alfredo Morelos this afternoon.
A little bit of a battle, quite
They
like
are,
that.
And then at the other end, I think, did Kevin Clancy give that against Curtis Main? No, he didn't. I think he's allowed play to go on.
Daz is right about the quality up to Curtis Main. I mean, you've got to hang that up. You cannot be playing balls that's going over his head through to McGregor. McGregor just starts the move and it comes back at you. If anything, drop it short. Allow him to chase it. Take it in his chest and get players round about him rather than stretching to knock it on when Ayunga's nowhere to be seen round about.
Do you know, the thing for me, Mark, is I think you've got to mix it up. Because the Rangers back in the line they know exactly what's going to happen. They drop off, they give themselves plenty of coverage, they can go and attack the ball, they're winning most of them. Sometimes, that's a game plan, but mix it up because you'll get players in the middle of the park that can play. Try and get it into the wide area like Strain. Was it Kilty that fired a terrific ball across the goals? You've got to try and mix it up a little bit. I don't think St Mirren are doing that.
That's good from Ryan Kent. He just keeps the ball and spins out and gives it back, but Lundstrom's ball's not brilliant, and then it allows St Mirren to clear. That'll be the main cause of frustration with a refereeing perspective. Oh, it's wonderful from Ryan Kent. Rangers are in again here, but it's going to be into the hands of Trevor Carson. Is Kent looking lively again?
Yeah, looks much more like what he was a couple of seasons ago. He's looking sharp. That's lovely bit of footwork there to then play in Kamara. Kamara probably should do better there, but seen a couple of times he's got the ball right in the touchline, struggling to keep up with him.
See, it's very easy to see, right? Kent's a good player, you've seen that there. See, if I was with Van Bronckhorst, I'd give Kent a free roll. I'd let him go and play. I feel that out in that wing it gives him the excuse to not being involved.
Barisic has just made life a bit difficult for Rangers. I think he's put it out for a corner. Could he have just rolled it back to Alan McGregor? Did I miss something?
I thought so. Just looked as if he panicked for a minute there and just kicked it out for a corner. And much more time to deal with that better. Chance for St Mirren. No, put it right in there for your big guys. Gallagher, Dunn, Main, Ayunga. Ball's got to be good though.
Yeah, a bit of quality. Left foot in swinger. Terrible. That is so frustrating if you are a manager. You probably worked in things like that all week. set plays.
I mean, can you blame one of the world's windiest stadiums? Maybe you could see that it did look like the ball started to drift a bit.
Wind caught it.
But anyway, it doesn't come to anything, and it's goalless.
Well, Giovanni Van Bronckhorst, I still believe, would be reasonably happy with his team's display. All we hear, Super Scoreboard, Monday to Friday, is what's their style, they're a sore watch, etc., etc. But I think they played well today, and they just haven't been sharp enough where it really matters.
I think that's the thing that would frustrate Rangers fans even still. I agree with you. Rangers are playing much better than I've seen them for a wee while now. But it's a lack of clear-cut chances. They want to see Carson getting worked much more than he has. One save from right.
We won't have heard the end of that piece of refereeing from Kevin Clancy though, Hugh, because Rangers were through on goal. He's pulled it back for a foul by Alfredo Morelos when it doesn't really look like it was one.
Rangers games involving Kevin Clancy tend to have moments. I mean, did the Rangers put in an 8-point letter of protest about Kevin Clancy last season following a game at Pataudry? It's just, it's so obvious that Declan Gallagher is the man who takes hold of Morelos first of all.
The only thing you would have to say, Gordon, look, a bad decision's a bad decision. Maybe he just looks up at the point that Morelos kind of comes across the back, and when Gallagher goes down, if he misses the first pull, it's not great, it's bad, but it would be the sort of obvious explanation, I guess.
Yeah, I think
it did seem to let play go and then sort of bring it back.
I was looking at obviously Tillman to see if he'd handled it or something, because I didn't see Morelos making that foul. I thought the two of them were just come together. I thought probably Gallagher was the guilty one out of the two. He's got a good position of it, you've got to say. So he obviously sees there enough in it to pull it back and give a free kick to St Mirren.
Oh, it's brilliant from, is it Strain down the right hand side?
How did he get out of that?
But unfortunately,
Rangers players round him.
In fact, Ayunga does eventually keep it, and then out for a throw in to St Mirren down by the corner. I wonder if they'll load the box again.
You know where this is coming.
Declan Gallagher comes up and throws them in.
Yeah, they're staging a mini revival here, St Mirren. They've been under the cosh for so long, but coming into it as we reach the final moments of the first half,
I think they'd much prefer to have another long throw expert and get Gallagher
in the box to go and attack it.
Yeah,
maybe just throw it high and run in.
Where he's clearing the ball with his t-shirt. To see the clip the other week there.
Brilliant.
It was great, wasn't it?
Yeah.
What game was it again?
Was it a game down south, wasn't it?
Yeah. And a fan gave his jumper over to let the ball be dry. You see the confusion on the player's face at first, then went, I'll have a bit of that.
And then puts the jumper back on.
But if they scored to come from that, if a goal comes from that, you're the man, you've got an assist.
Yeah. He's getting a free season ticket.
Or if you throw it to Cristiano Ronaldo, then he throws it back to you, then put it on eBay, get yourself a few bob.
Oh, absolutely. I don't think there would be any hesitation in doing that. So we're now approaching half time, you'd have to say. 39 gone, St Mirren 0, Rangers 0. No doubt Rangers the better side, but
that's a better ball.
If we're talking about the main stat that matters, it is still goalless. And here comes St Mirren into the ball.
That's a great ball.
A few Rangers players let that one go, and eventually James Tavernier sweeps it away before conducting a bit of a post-mortem with his defence. I mean, 3 Rangers players arguably leave it before James Tavernier clears it for a corner.
I think that's the game plan though. Gallagher much more precise into Junga's chest at the edge of the box. It breaks to the wide area, bodies in there, good ball across. Rangers centre halves should have dealt with it before it got to Tavernier.
You've got to say St Mirren's best play has been down the right hand side. Rangers left. There's obviously Target and Barisic.
Better ball from St Mirren this time. Mark O'Hara heads it. Oh, it's Declan Gallagher, sorry, heads it just wide. He got up at the back post. Down it goes. The look in his face, he feels that was a big chance. He feels like he should have done better. Alan McGregor's angry, and water is wet. Hugh Keevins.
Yeah, and he's got history with Kevin Clancy as well. So you can always tell McGregor's the barometer. He knows that things aren't as
that's
good.
a chance.
Well, that's a chance. Declan Gallagher knows he should have done better. He also feels like it. St Mirren also feel like it should have been another corner. Which I must admit, I don't think that replay was conclusive. But Alan McGregor's not happy. He felt Mark O'Hara got in his way.
And maybe
he's trying to go on with the game.
O'Hara does kick the ball. He needs to just take himself out of those situations. He then grabs a Hara round the waist and drags him out the way, and then he seems an angry man. I mean, he's 40-year-old or whatever he is.
What do you mean? You can still be angry at 40. Look at me.
Never seen Hugh when he loses and beat the pundit. He's sort of slamming pens.
Overly angry, though.
Kicked producer Callum last week because he lost, beat the pundit.
How many people can point to their cardigan and beat the pundit?
Exactly. Clean sweep for the pundits this week. Disgusting.
2 wins for
Absolutely
Dalziel.
disgusting.
Yeah, it does.
Did you win last night, Hugh?
I did.
It's easy, isn't it?
On a tie-break.
If they leave it to us experienced guys,
It was it was rotten, the tiebreaker though. They were both about 150 out, but he was just 3 closer or something.
About the goals in the championship.
Rubbish,
heard
but
it.
nevertheless. And then we added more goals in the championship last night. Did you see that?
I
Good
watched,
game.
I watched it from 2-1, and when the Ackies equalised, I thought, ooh, but right away, Lee Bullen's team up the other end of the park.
3-2 to Ayr at Hamilton. Depot Akinyemi is the star of the championship this season. Don't think there's any doubt about that. He's been a magnificent signing, hasn't he?
Yeah, I watched the full game last night. I've got to say, a lot of good. I know they're bottom of the league. Got a lot of good signing. I thought Hamilton played particularly well last night. I thought they were very unfortunate.
Who was your top marksman when you were the manager at Ayr?
Glenn Hurst, Gary Teal, Andy Walker was there.
That's right.
I had some good players. Just style of football I had.
Were you the other day Andy scored the cheeky penalty against Kilmarnock?
I was the manager, yeah. I think I was there, yeah.
We seen Andy the other night at the Celtic Motherwell game, and I thought, oh, here we go, two old pals together, but it was just a passing hello.
I think that's where your mistake was. Anyway, Ryan Kent comes across and he's all the way over on the right hand side trying to keep it alive. And luckily for St Mirren, I think Mark O'Hara got his pass way wrong, but so wrong that it went to another teammate from the wow, Leon King nearly puts into his own net. It was across from St Mirren. He leapt into the air and it came off his left leg, and it could have gone anywhere. It came off his knee and went behind Alan McGregor's goal.
I feel sorry for him, Leon King. I think an awful lot has been asked of someone so young.
Yeah,
I know, everyone predicted the glowing future, and there's no doubt about that at all. But this season, given all that's surrounding Rangers in general, Giovanni Van Bronckhorst in particular, an awful lot has been asked of someone so young.
They fancy it down that side, let's be honest. They've worked on that.
St Mirren's delivery will be frustrating the life out of Stephen Robinson though. That one's not the worst, to be fair, but it's still very high, very loopy. The good thing, if you're St Mirren, is it's now the second ball in a row that Alan McGregor has not covered himself.
I think he does enough.
In glory over.
I think he does enough.
Oh yeah, when he puts it out for a corner, but he
was always searching for it.
He didn't look in control.
He's never going to catch it.
He barely got a finger on it.
But he got it away from the danger area.
That's a better ball though,
ball.
and that one's flashed away, I think, by a Rangers head. It'll be a third corner in quick succession.
I think you're right, Gordon. The first corner, McGregor struggling. Once he makes his first decision, he knows he has to keep going, and he's lucky to get fingertips to it. That one's a better ball in second corner, right above that man at the front post head. In a third corner.
This could change a half-time team talks for both managers if this goes in the back of the net. A little bit of pressure for St Mirren. Need a bit of quality in here.
Yeah, it's a better ball again. But Rangers doing well. Rangers defending their 6-yard box well on that occasion.
Got to say, yeah, good defending, because that's a brilliant ball in middle of the 6-yard box. You've got all the big guys in there attacking that.
Half time
in Paisley. Let's get the eyewitness account from Andrew McLean.
St Mirren 0, Rangers 0, the half-time score. The visitors have had the better chances, but they're not ahead in this one. It's a story we've heard before this season. Lively opening few minutes, both teams showing attacking intent. Malik Tillman with the first effort 6 minutes in. Good feet at the edge of the box, but he was off balance and dragged his shot wide. Morelos also had a speculative effort from a tight angle 12 minutes in, but it was never worrying Trevor Carson in the St Mirren goal. Carson then forced into a big save a few minutes later. Borna Barisic's cross, finding Scott Wright at the back post. His header, he did it right, he headed down, but Carson made himself big and blocked that one. Curtis Main had a headed shot of his own at the other end. That one was straight at Alan McGregor. 23 minutes in, Scott Wright with a wonderful run, picked it up at the halfway line, past 3 or 4 St Mirren defenders, but his shot rolled wide. A good opening for St Mirren just before the half-hour mark. Greg Kiltie flashing the ball across the face of goal. O'Hara and Ayunga both in the middle of the box. They couldn't get the telling touch though, and as the half closed out, St Mirren had a spell of pressure. Declan Gallagher with a good headed chance from a corner. He flicked that one wide. Leon Dion King almost turned an awkward clearance into his own net too. Both sides with spells of pressure so far, but no goals to show for it. The half-time score at the Smiza Stadium is St Mirren 0, Rangers 0.
Sum that up, Gordon Dalziel.
Yeah, I think the St Mirren manager will be more happier, Gordon. I thought Rangers, especially early on, dominated the ball. They had a great chance to be right, but I still think, as much as we're giving them a bit of praise, still think the Rangers fans will be a bit disappointed. I think they'd be looking to create and test the goalkeeper a little bit more. They're getting into good positions down the flanks at times, bit more quality balls into the box. We've not seen a great deal of Morella's big talk before the game. St Mirren at the end there putting a little bit of pressure on, obviously targeted down that right hand side, Barisic side, left back, St Mirren's right, try to put balls in there. Curtis Main try to upset the defender. So I would say 0-0 at half time is a fair result.
I think it's been better from Rangers in terms of the positions they're finding themselves in the pitch. However, it's the same old story when it comes to cutting edge at the top end of the pitch once you get there.
Isn't there?
Yeah. So even Tillman getting into areas, I think Kamara in this inside right position, run about the St Mirren box, has been in there a few times and it's been poor. Morelos we've seen, we shot he could have taken in. The only real chance has been Wright's header, which was a good move, good header, but equally good save. I think Van Bronckhorst will be looking for more in that final third. The play's been a bit better, but there's always that opportunity for a sucker punch, and we've seen St Mirren creep into the half as it's went on, and they finish with a flurry of corners at the end. Rangers do not want to invite more of that on early on into the second half.
The drama intensifies because now Van Bronckhorst has half a game.
Yeah.
And a draw is not acceptable to the Rangers fans. They will wait for the Celtic game and see how that transpires. However, taking this game in isolation, a draw is unacceptable to the Rangers fans, and now they've lost 45 minutes of the 90.
Away games are not the best occasions to ask this, Andrew McLean, but I'll give it a bash anyway. How did the fans seem to be reacting to that performance? Like I said, sometimes a bit different because you've got just a couple of thousand who are enjoying their day out, and it's not the same as a home game. It's maybe a bit of a harsher criticism.
Yeah, away supporters tend to be more vocal across the 90 minutes, just in terms of singing songs and making noise, and that has been the case of the Rangers support so far. A pretty neutral reaction at half time. I know that Hugh was saying earlier on that it seems to be a sort of knee-jerk thing that when Rangers go in at half time 0-0 that the fans do boo. That has been the case at home. It certainly was the case at half time at Ibrox midweek, but no real reaction from the Rangers supporters when the half time whistle went there. I think they've seen some decent openings for their side so far, but at the same time St Mirren really coming into the game in the last few minutes as well.
Giovanni Van Bronckhorst, it's not necessarily his style to rant and rave. What was the reaction like when Tillman was through in goal but play was brought back for an alleged foul by Alfredo Morelos?
Yeah, it was quite a reserved reaction at first. I think he was just looking to see exactly what had happened because it wasn't overly clear in the stadium. He then turned to the assistant that was closest to him, then had a word with the fourth official as well. Looked a bit confused by the whole scenario. He clearly felt that either it wasn't a foul or he felt that play should have continued and then VAR would check it afterwards. But throughout the half he has shown quite a bit of frustration. There's been at times a couple of flicks, Glenn Kamara and Ryan Kent giving away possession. He's thrown his hands up in the air, and there's been at times as well where Rangers have put balls into decent areas of the box and there's not been those players attacking the right areas as well. So he is showing a bit of frustration towards certain elements of their performance as well. And just an interesting note maybe, Scott Arfield out on the pitch at the moment. He's the only Rangers player, Rangers substitute at the moment that's warming up, so potential for him maybe to come on at the start of the second half.
That'll be an interesting one. We'll keep an eye on it. We'll bring you news of that change if it comes, and the second half next.
The team with the biggest support in Glasgow and the West. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Second half not quite ready to get underway in Paisley. If you are just joining us, you've not missed a great deal. St Mirren 0, Rangers 0 at the break. Rangers with most of the ball, as you would expect. Most of the openings. A Scott Wright header, probably the best chance. A Malik Tillman effort dragged wide. Scott Wright also dragged one wide. But towards the end of the half started to look a bit shakier. St Mirren looked like they could cause some problems as well. Any clearer, Andrew McLean, on whether there will be a change at the break?
Yeah, there definitely will be a change because Scott Arfield has just finished a bit more of a vigorous warm-up than the other players. He's now getting changed and ready to come on, speaking to Roy Mackay, who's showing him the tactics folder at the moment to see where he needs to be lining up at corners and things like that. No sign as of yet who will be coming off for Scott Arfield, as the teams aren't out yet, but certainly it will be one change for Rangers at the break.
What would your guess be?
Kamara?
Yeah, I have to agree with that.
Has he not had a good first half?
Think,
by the way, it could be injury related
like
as well,
said,
of course.
I think he's getting into some good positions but being wasteful when he's got there. I think, he's got his head up looking to play the ball into the Morelos, and it's been poor. So end product where you want Kamara to produce in these games, he's been off it. And you've got to say, if you're bringing on Arfield, he's one that can certainly produce in that sort of area. So it would make sense if it was Kamara.
You need a threat in behind. Arfield gives you that threat. They're looking at for Tillman in the first half. It's not really. The ball's up to Morelos. We've not seen anything Morelos this afternoon so far. Everybody talks about his threat as the ball goes up to him, he holds it up, he brings players into play. Not really seen that. If they can get that tactic going and get Arfield running in behind for the third ball, then there could be a danger. And Arfield knows where the back of the net is. So, yeah, I would imagine it would be for Kamara.
Hugh, 90-minute game of football. You don't have to score in the first half. Of course you don't. Just noticing a little bit of a theme with Rangers, though. Obviously, they didn't score in the first half against Hearts. They didn't score in the first half against St Johnstone. They did it against Aberdeen. They didn't do it against Livy. They didn't do it against Motherwell. And at that point you're then going back to the home game against St Mirren. It does change the psychology if you can just get that goal before the break.
Yeah, but it didn't affect them midweek because Tillman came with a goal against Hearts. And the pressure on Rangers midweek at home in front of an unforgiving crowd was immense. But the pressure's still immense now because, as I say, half a game is gone. They cannot come off that park without having won all 3 points. Otherwise they hand Celtic a massive psychological boost before they kick off against Ross County. So it's I can't properly describe how monumental the next 45 minutes are for the team in general and the manager in particular.
That sounds a bit like we're getting teams coming back out. Andrew McLean, just recap both of them for us. Tell us of any changes if you can.
Yeah, the Rangers players making their way out the tunnel at the moment, and the one that hasn't emerged is Glenn Kamara. The guys were right, so it will be Scott Arfield on for him. I'll run through the 11s. Trevor Carson in goal for St Mirren. The back three: Marcus Fraser, Declan Gallagher and Charles Dunn. Ryan Strain and Scott Tans are the wing backs. Greg Kiltie, Ethan Erahon and Mark O'Hara, the three central midfielders. Jonah Ayunga and Curtis Main up top. For Rangers, Alan McGregor in goal. The back four: James Tavernier, Leon King, James Sands and Borna Barisic. It'll be John Lundstrom and Scott Arfield in the midfield three, with Malik Tillman, Scott Wright and Ryan Kent either side of Alfredo Morelos. And you'd say for most of the match, Rangers were the better side, created better openings, just not a whole lot of clear cut chances. The best was that Scott Wright header from Borna Barisic's cross. Ryan Kent, he's looked lively, he's linked up well with Borna Barisic, but a frustrating afternoon so far, you've got to say, for Alfredo Morelos, who hasn't managed to get the better of the St Mirren defence. Really just that one shot from quite a wild angle, and it hasn't caused them problems in a physical sense. Curtis Main has done that at times for St Mirren. We saw him backing into, I think it was James Sands at one point, creating an opening for Greg Kiltie, who flashed the ball across the face of goal. They had that good spell of pressure at the end of the first half, so this game certainly still very much in the balance. Mark O'Hara standing over the ball, and we are ready to go for the second half.
Clyde One Super Scoreboard Goal Flashes with Clyde Built Home Improvements. Rayhow products with a 14-day turnaround. Call them today.
Does this feel like a big 45 minutes of football for Rangers, Gordon?
Massive for me. I'm with you.
That's a new record. Alfredo Morelos has been booked 1 second, I would say, into the second half.
That's incredible.
That's got to be some sort of record after the restart. So the kickoff's taken, it's passed back the way from Mark O'Hara, but that's not even a second. That is a quarter of a second into the second half.
What is he thinking?
He just pushes over whichever player was closest to him and goes into the book. Remarkable.
He must know the referee is standing right there beside him when he's doing it as well.
I think it's quite sad, actually. It's symptomatic of the decline that he has suffered as a player. He's now at times a joke figure. He was left out by Giovanni Van Bronckhorst earlier on in the season because his attitude and his fitness were suspect in the eyes of the manager. Now, Rangers need absolute concentration in this second 45 minutes. To take off Kamara is symptomatic of what's wrong with Rangers. 6 months ago, Kamara was a prized asset. Now he's given nothing to Rangers in the first half, and then the first half begins with a yellow card for Morelos.
And it's a goal in Paisley.
Goal flashes with Clyde Built Home Improvements.
St Mirren 1, Rangers 0, just 90 seconds after the restart, and St Mirren do take the lead. It's Ayunga. It was a good save initially from Alan McGregor, but when the rebound fell, it goes into the back of the net. Giovanni Van Bronckhorst instantly turns to a monitor. He's hoping there's some sort of infringement there, which will see this goal ruled out. Long throw, Declan Gallagher flicked on Curtis Main, and it doesn't. Well, Leon King dallied as the ball comes back out to him, and Ayunga sticks it away. I can't see any reason that'll be ruled out. Gordon Dalziel.
Absolutely no chance. It's a good goal. It's a threat again. It's from the long throw in. Curtis Main goes between two defenders, gets a free header, great save from McGregor, and then young King, he's dallying thinking he's got all the time in the world, and he gets robbed. But you think it couldn't get any worse with Morelos after a second getting a yellow card. 2 minutes later, Rangers are goal behind.
Well, less than 2 minutes. How did St Mirren get up the pitch there?
From the free kick.
The free kick that Alfredo Morelos gives away by randomly pushing someone at kickoff.
Yeah, I think you're right, Gordon. You have to trace it all the way back. So Morelos gives away a free kick that they can load it in and get a throw in.
Goes long, out for a throw in. Throw in comes in, goal.
Now, then you start picking it apart. You look at Barisic, who's meant to be the front man protecting. Doesn't he move? Doesn't he know Main's coming? You look at Sands behind Main. He's almost
he's the one looking at him.
He's stooting when Main's up heading the ball, and then King. McGregor makes a great saying, but King, I said at the start of the game, the young man's gone through a difficult period, and that's just simple stuff. Is
he trying to take a touch?
I think he's trying to take a touch
in the 6 yard box. Scott Wright's maybe lucky not to get booked for that if he hasn't. He's gone in very late on Charles Dunn as he cleared it.
I think you're absolutely correct, Gordon, that Alfredo Morelos sets a chaotic tone at the start of the second half. I remember an Aberdeen player booked against Celtic in the days of Alec Ferguson at Pittodrie from kick-off. I'm trying to remember which one, it'll come back to me, but that was about 2 or 3 seconds. Morelos, without the proverbial nanosecond, it's a booking, and St Mirren are up the park. He is a disgrace.
I think you can probably, Gordon, argue about whether it was a booking or not. I'm not sure if Kevin Clancy needed to book him, but still, you can avoid that. If you're afraid of Morelos, you can avoid it.
You should avoid it. There's no need for it, Gordon, right? And I take on board, and I can't argue the fact that sets the move off for St Mirren to go up the pitch. But you've got a long throw in, you know where it's coming into, you've still got to defend it.
I know King makes a mistake, but the role that Barisic and we've got
scrambled away by Rangers as St Mirren look to compile the misery.
Yeah, the role that Barisic and Sands play, and that, you know,
it's the easiest flick on in the world for Curtis Main, isn't it?
Gordon, and none of them anywhere near them. Don't even look like they want to get involved with him in your own 18-yard box. Unforgivable defending.
It's a heavy touch from Morelos that allows St Mirren just to regroup. Yeah, that's the thing, Mark. You know that Curtis Main is a physical presence, but he's not had to jump. He's not actually done anything. He's pretty much been able to come just in between and flick it on, without any pressure.
I've been that front man before, and you're on the half turn, your hands out, feeling where the striker's going to come from. Barisic at no point knows where he's going to come from, and Sands is the total opposite. If you're marking him, you're on him and talking to Barisic, but he's a yard behind him. So when Main's up, Sands is already shooting down.
Barisic has to go on his toes, doesn't he? I mean, at any level, you go to pitch on a Saturday morning, you'll see.
Why is Barisic running towards the ball?
That's what I'm saying. You stand on Curtis Main's toes.
But you need to be in the half turn.
You can't go towards the ball because you're killing yourself.
Can see him because Sands is facing that way.
Sands is 2 yards behind him, so it's already too late. You have to be tight to a guy like Main to at least challenge him.
And
but none of them do.
Then to be fair to Leon King, Gordon, it's clear it's obviously a mistake.
Yeah.
But he's not Rangers' biggest problem at the moment. If Rangers had fit defenders, Leon King would have been given a rest and would have been taken out the firing line. But you're relying on an 18-year-old every week.
Yeah, but I think you've still got to realise
that you can do better for sure.
Yeah, but he doesn't get any help at all, and McGregor must be frustrated with that. But I'm looking at this game, Gordon. Unless there's a major turnaround, I'm watching Morelos the way he's going about his business.
However, here's Tillman dancing feet in the box. It's hacked away by St Mirren.
If you're a manager and you're sitting in that dugout and you're thinking my job may depend on this, and you're looking at Morelos, it's a hard one to take for me.
Now, Andrew said the Rangers fans are generally quite encouraging away from home. I don't know if that is going to last much longer when you see Rangers getting down the right and then James Tavernier boot the ball out of play rather than find a player in the box.
And then the camera pans to the manager and you can see his frustration. And I know people were saying about his body language in the past, but he's every right. When he's just gave a half-time team talk, and it's probably one of the biggest of his life to keep his job, and your team responds in the fashion it has in this opening 7 minutes, then you're every right to be sitting in the dugout there throwing your arms about and saying you expect better.
I mean, it's going to be, again, you come back to personnel and why. You know, Cholak's injured and that's why there's only one option. But I think Robbie Ewer has just been sent to warm up by Rangers. It might actually be the case that Alfredo Morelos, it doesn't matter who he is, he might need to be taken off here because not offering
I've been in a position where I was under pressure as a manager, and I'll tell you what, I'd rather put my hat on a young lad that'll go out there and run his socks off for me rather than sit and watch an experienced player going through the motions. Now, the big gamble is for the manager to turn around and say Morelos is my goal scorer, as in, you know, he's produced it in the past, he's an experienced player. Do you bite the bullet and take him off, or do you decide to go, do you know what, I hope he can get me out of jail just with one bit of brilliance?
Well, that's why this decision will be pivotal. Here we have a high profile, high visibility liability. And you're right, the manager has to decide whether that liability will, in a moment of genius, turn the game for you.
But Hugh, let's not get carried away with just picking on Morelos. Is terrible, and I think Rangers fans will back that up. But I look through that full team just now.
Yeah.
I wouldn't like to be putting my hat on most of them.
I'll tell you what, it might get worse because Leon King has taken a head knock. He looks in a bit of distress, and ultimately, if you kind of have to, there's a responsibility there. If he's concussed in any way, he's going off. I mean,
who's the cover, Gordon? I don't know. Lundstrom getting there?
Yeah, it would need to be something like that, wouldn't it? Steve Davis comes on and Lundstrom drops in.
We're at a stage in football where legal cases are now being brought forward by people who.
Yeah, look, the stretchers. Leon King's not raised his head off the turf in like a minute. So in fact, Ryan Jack's going to come on back from injury, and Lundstrom will go in.
You have a duty of care to the player first and foremost. Doesn't matter where you are in the league and how things might be at 5 o'clock. You have a duty of care to a young man. And so they're doing the right thing, and the stretcher has been called for.
Doesn't look good at all, by the way. He's not moved.
I think he took an elbow from Curtis Main as he jumped, like in the back of the head, fairly accidental. Look, we wish Leon King well. We'll keep you updated on that. On a footballing sense, though, you know, I mentioned it before the game about the fact that Rangers hadn't scored in the first half, and you were right, Hugh. You don't always need to do it. Look at Hearts, but look how often they're falling behind in games.
Yeah.
Domestically, you look at, obviously they fell behind. St Johnstone couldn't come back at all. Even when they beat Aberdeen 4-1, they fell behind. Of course they fell behind and left it late to beat Livingston, and it goes without saying in Europe they're obviously falling behind as well. They're not starting games quick enough.
Well, first half I thought they played well, and in the final third they weren't clinical enough. Half time, the substitution of Kamara at half time is symptomatic of where Rangers are at the moment, because 6 months ago he was at the hot ticket, and now he's having to be taken off at half time because of non-contributor.
He might have been injured. We'll find out afterwards.
If Morelos comes off at this juncture, then for me it signals the end of his time as a Rangers player, because this was the man who, in terms of European football, record goal scorer at the club. This was the man Rangers once turned down £16 million for. And if you take him off,
I don't think they can take him off you. And do you know something? people will be shouting at the radio and Rangers fans, and I totally understand. But when you've only got a young lad, and as I say, I'd rather put my hat on a young lad with his energy and his attitude. But Van Bronckhorst is looking, thinking, I need a goal. And I just need to cross my fingers and hope he can produce something.
Why is he today more likely to get one than Robbie Uras?
Yeah, because I think he's... Look, it only takes a minute for him, and he's special at times. Let's be honest, he's shown it in the past.
That would be the key word though, wouldn't it?
Yeah, 100%, Gordon. And I know the argument, and I know that going down this road, people will say you can't win this argument. But when you're standing there and you're in the shoes of Van Bronckhorst, you're under severe pressure, that's a massive call.
More importantly is, right now, would be the health and well-being of Leon King. This does look like a really nasty one. St Mirren's medical staff are on helping out. This has now been a seriously long stoppage in play. Luckily for you lot, I'm an expert lip reader, and when the camera went to Ryan Jack coming on, he said to John Lundstrom, I'll go the 6. I'm sure that's what he said.
Did he?
I'm hoping it was that and wasn't something like what he's planning with his Saturday night. But he said
something similar to what you would have said on the pitch.
No, I'm confident in my lip reading ability. I'll go the 6.
Yeah.
So he's going to come into, well, funnily enough, the 6th position in midfield, and you'd imagine that means for John Lundstrom. But Hugh, I don't think we need to make big statements or predict anything or diagnose anything, but the length of time tells you this is not good for Leon King.
Absolutely. And the fact that the other club's medical staff come on to lend a hand speaks volumes. It's a distressing sight. There is no dressing that up as anything else. It's a distressing sight, and I feel for the player's family. He's a teenager, and he has clearly suffered a serious injury, and they are right to take as much time as they possibly can to make sure that all is okay, and to safeguard the player. Obviously, I think be taken straight to hospital. It just has that look about it.
Massive lull in play here. We hope Leon King's fine. It might seem like a good chance though to just quickly cross to Celtic Park and get some team news with Gabriel.
Yeah, thanks, Gordon. 6 changes for Ange Postecoglou yet again. He brings in Anthony Ralston, Moritz Jens, Alexandra Bernabei, David Turnbull, Haksabanovic and Dalziel Maeda. The team that will start here against Ross County is as follows: Joe Hart in goal, Anthony Ralston, Cameron Carter-Vickers and Moritz Jens at the back, Alexandra Bernabei left back of course. Matt O'Reilly will sit at the base of midfield with Reo Hatate and David Turnbull in front of him. It's Sead Haksabanovic on one wing, Dalziel Maeda on the other, and Kyogo Furuhashi still leads the line. On the bench for the Hoops today, you've got Siegrist, Taylor, Starfelt, Giacomakis, Abada, Moy, Jota, Albilgard and Forrest. I'll bring you the Ross County team news when it comes.
There's now no surprise. There's no alarm when Celtic make changes. It's not anything drastic because we've seen it many times and they tend to still win the match, Hugh Keevins. But that's the team this afternoon.
Maeda scored a very good goal at Motherwell,
and Turnbull set it up. It's almost like they've been rewarded for that.
Promoted. Maeda is also going to World Cup with Japan, unlike Hatate and Furuhashi. So it's been a really, really good week for him. Haksabanovic, the Celtic fans love him. And in O'Reilly, Hatate and Turnbull, you have middle of the park that takes care of itself. Anthony Ralston seems to be the one who comes in when you've had a busy midweek, and Anthony Ralston then comes in. And Bernabei, every time he goes on the park, something happens. The last time it was that Dundee United penalty, and they took him off at half time. I thought Starfelt was fine midweek at Motherwell, but then they had that horror tackle. Very lucky not to have suffered a serious injury, but perhaps he has been injured, and that's why he's out today. But this is the Ange Postecoglou method now. 5 or 6 changes, game to game, commonplace.
Not surprised with Hugh. Mark and I witnessed the game the other night. Thought they were a bit flat. Even the manager said after it. Plenty of quality, sharpen up.
Right, back underway in Paisley. We wish Leon King well. Ryan Jack has come on, so a bit of a reshuffle for Rangers. John Lundstrom, I think, I've not seen it yet, but I would assume goes back in there unless I'm missing something. Andrew McLean can tell us. It certainly does look like he's in alongside James Sands. So Rangers have half an hour according to the clock, but it'll be a good bit more than that because of the delay to get. Well, they need 2 goals. There's no doubt about that, Hugh. A point isn't going to keep any of the Rangers fans happy today.
No, it's amazing. After the first half, I repeat, Rangers were zipping the ball along quite nicely, but lacked a threat. And then that chaotic tone is set by Morelos from the kick-off, gets a yellow card. St Mirren go up the park, and Rangers do not respond properly in a defensive sense. So they have to overcome what's happened to young Leon King, because that's going through the minds of these players. You're only human, and they've been over to have a look at what was going on with him, so that they have to try and somehow clear their minds and refocus on a match that has gone wrong.
At the same time, Gordon, Hughes has summed it up perfectly. Morelos might have set the tone, and it's easy to get carried away when it's him because of the focus. It's still a free kick on the halfway line, right? He's not given away a daft penalty. He's not scored an own goal. It doesn't necessarily excuse it, but it's a free kick on the halfway line. So there's a whole host of things that then need to happen.
100%.
And Rangers made a series of errors after that.
I think it's quite easy just to label Morelos. It certainly doesn't help. It's when it goes to throw-in. We've watched St Mirren every time we've got a throw in the final third for the first 45 plus minutes. They went direct right into the box, so you know it's coming in there. It's no surprise. You should be organised. You should be, Barisic gets drawn towards the ball for some reason. I have no idea what he's even trying to attempt, and they're all over the place and they get outdone. But credit to St Mirren, they kept putting it in there. They kept asking questions. They've got the reward.
Rangers do look back in control, if you like. The goal had rocked them slightly, and then the stoppage allows everyone to regroup, but it's definitely Rangers on the front foot at the moment.
Again, I think Van Bronckhorst will want more from Kent. Now he's getting the ball plenty of times in this second half. Crossed one into the goalie's hands moments ago. At that time he chopped inside, but he gets dispossessed. He's been so disappointing all season. He needs a big half hour here to get his manager out of hole. I thought he looked lively in the first half, but he's reverted back to his usual this season.
I get back to Mark. I don't think as a winger you've got to be getting that ball constantly, getting it, driving it, full backs and going and playing. Now Kent second half really offered nothing, let's be honest about it. I would be more entitled to say, right, I'll tell you what, go and just play off the striker.
Well, Curtis Main has turned John Lundstrom expertly as he tried to nip in front of him, but fortunately for Rangers the pass isn't great. Ayunga will still get it, and he's going to drive at James Sands, and it comes to the edge of the box, but it's not a good delivery from St Mirren. But Rangers can't clear it at the first or second time of asking, and now Alan McGregor has it.
Did you hit that?
As poor from Kilty. Was it Kilty that got it at the edge of the box?
Not
here?
sure.
Was it? I mean, good play from St Mirren. Passed a bit wide, but again,
did you take a chance on that?
Ayunga, what shot?
Aye.
I would have. Yeah, he tries to cross it for an awkward position, but it needs to be much better. I thought that was an opportunity for St Mirren to really get at Sands there and go for a second goal. So Rangers living on the edge a bit here. Curtis Main does well to turn. I think it was Lundstrom. Was it Lundstrom about 30 yards for his own goal and one pass and they're through?
Slack by Morelos on the right hand side gives it away, and Rangers are pressing high to obviously try and get back in this.
He does
Ayunga
brilliant.
does great, but Sands then comes over and it's a throw in. That's a couple though. St Mirren would have been able to break if the pass had been better. Both have gone way out wide and Ayunga's had to chase them, and he's done well at it. But better passes, he's in twice.
Just over Sands' head, gives him an opportunity to bear down and go, but the pass is always curling away. He does well to get that there, but as I say, Rangers living on the edge. Obviously they have to go for an equaliser. They have to commit bodies forward, but you have to then have secure possession, and I've not had that the twice that St Mirren have broke. So
that goal gives you that extra half yard mark. There's no doubt. The minute they go one up, they're thinking, hold on a minute, Rangers are under a bit of pressure here. They've got to come at us. A yellow card for a
Did he come too far forward, or did he come on the pitch there, Strain, when he's taking the throw in? Is it for time wasting?
Because he's getting to still take it, is he not? So yeah. Kevin Clancy's not happy. He's gone into the book.
If it's time wasting, they're a bit early.
I didn't think he actually took that long with that, Hugh.
It's never too early though, is it? Robbie Nielsen was complaining that Rangers were time wasting the other night. He felt there should have been more added on.
Robbie Nielsen should keep quiet and focus on.
You're
getting
allowed
points.
to say anything. It's your birthday.
Exactly.
You just free for all today for a
He
shot.
goes through the whole season believing it's one long miscarriage of justice where Hearts are concerned, and he gets away with it. It's a deflection tactic.
Anyway, Gabriel can give us the Ross County team and recap the Celtic team for us, perhaps.
Yes, I can, Gordon. Just one change for the visitors down here at Celtic Park today. That is Sims coming in for Owura Edwards. So Ross County will be lining up in a 4-3-3 formation. It's Ross Laidlaw in goal, Callum Johnson, Keith Watson, Alex Iacovitti and George Harman at the back. David Cancola, Victor Loturi and Jordan Tilson in midfield. Jan Danda and Sims out wide with Jordan White leading the line. The substitutes for them are Eastwood, Monroe, Owura, Samuel, Olegby, Akio, Hiwula and Smith. A quick recap of the Celtic team as well. That was named about 10 minutes ago. 6 changes for Ange Postecoglou's side. It's Joe Hart in goal. Anthony Ralston, Cameron Carter Vickers, Maurice Yent and Alexandra Bernabei are the back four. Matt O'Reilly, Reo Hatate and David Turnbull in midfield with Sead Haksabanovic, Dazen Maeda and Kyogo Furuhashi up top.
Hugh, this is Glasgow and the West, as you well know.
Yep.
And that means that all the Celtic fans who are driving to Celtic Park at the moment or making their way and have got us on, they've got this Rangers coverage just turned up and their ears are ready for what happens at full time here if Rangers can't get back into this.
They won't know what to do. Some will go into the park and hope that can be lucky for them. Others will sit in the car in silence and just hope that you then say goal at Paisley or time up Paisley. But I said last week when Celtic were 2-1 against Dundee United and not looking like getting a third, and I said that the Rangers supporters will move closer to the radio. Well, now the Celtic supporters are moving closer to the radio.
I'm looking at a team that they're all looking at each other if they say, go on, you make something happen and give us the spark that we need. Instead of the Rangers players getting together, up in the pace, trying to get the ball quicker, trying to change one or two things, it's basically they're all looking at each other thinking, who's going to give us this spark here?
This is why I said at the start that I wasn't sure if Van Bronckhorst's job was safe even if they did win, because see Rangers still go on and win this game and they get back in it, they get a late winner, they've still had 68 minutes the same old thing. And how do you get that better, really, when it's the same players? I get the injuries, I get the squad's weaker than it should be, but the players who hit such heights have went back drastically. And I think that's a big worry with the Rangers fans, that Van Bronckhorst has been in charge for a year and he's taken his players backward. How in 5 weeks does he get them much better then to actually put a challenge in against Celtic? So even if Rangers do come back here, I think a change will be made.
Well, I think certainly a win, Gordon, from here, I'm not sure that's not going to win over any fans that are. If any fans are geo out, I don't think they'll be won over by this coming back and winning 2-1 this afternoon.
No, but it's a stay of execution for me.
But I was going to say, we just don't know if the board are of a similar mindset, because if they've not done it this week, and there are no signs yet, although that could mean anything of doing it, then surely a win today, just it's as you were and you carry on, no?
Right now I can't see where the win's coming from, but if they did get the win, I sort of disagree with Matt. I think they would say, right, okay, it's time just to take a deep breath, as Ken I don't know what he's trying to take a deep breath, settle everything down, try and work in try and get some injured players back, try and just use this break to get momentum going when you come back. So I think they would give him that time. If he leaves here, if this whistle goes 90 plus minutes and it's 1-0, it's a short trip to the airport for me.
Oh, it's really short.
He doesn't
just up the road.
Yeah, he'll get a lift. He doesn't even need
in fact,
taxi.
can you not park in the Smiza Stadium?
And you can.
It's a sort of
airport bus.
It's like a shuttle
the
sort of thing.
airporter. I've got that before. Saves you a bit of cash. Daz, it's a tip for you.
That's the name of the game, that, isn't it?
I just get somebody to drop him off, mate.
See, David Friel's on the ball. He tells us already it's actually called the Flying Scot, apparently.
The Flying Scot.
Other car parks are available.
I know.
Have you ever had to say that, Hugh, before? I don't think so. Anyway, look, that's all tongue in cheek, and I know it's not necessarily, it's not a joking matter in that regard.
What's also not a joking matter is that at times like this you need men who are capable of lifting this out of the fire. And I don't see, at the moment, I don't see Scott Arfield having made a big imprint on the game. Morelos, no imprint. Kent.
Make it easier. Tell me who has.
Yeah.
Also, to cut a tiny bit of slack, does that delay to in the second half has sucked the life out of it a bit, is it not?
Oh, look at that for a pass.
Oh,
That's
it's awful from
up.
James Sands. Oh, and even worse from Curtis Main, who just completely falls over, slipped.
Not a good advert for Scottish football, that passage of play.
James Sands gave it to Curtis Main on the halfway line. It was a real moment of danger, and then he just fell over completely
and done 4 rolls in the process of falling over as well.
That was quite something, that.
Yeah, but James Sands lucky. I mean, how slack is that? He's lucky that Main lost his footing. I know it's on the halfway line, but still.
Well, St Mirren sacrifice a front man for a defensive midfield to see if they can hold on to the win.
They're about to make a change. It might be that very thing.
Because of the delay, though, we've still probably got about 25 minutes left, which feels like we've had quite a lot of second half already, but still going to be 25 minutes at least.
The problem if St Mirren do that sacrifice a Yunga or Main is
getting out.
You leave yourself with one man up there battling away. Just now they've got 2 men. We've seen a Yunga almost get in, so you're changing your tactic totally. I get it, it might just shore things up, but are they really under pressure just now? Do you really need an extra body in there? I don't think so.
I think what will frustrate, lots of things will frustrate the Rangers fans, and the scoreline is chief among them, but when you dig a bit deeper as well, it's still only a one shot on target. It's only that Scott Wright header.
I've heard the guys talking about, and I do agree, it's been better, but it's not been good. I look at Rangers playing the first 45, apart from Scott Wright, nothing. There's no spark to it, there's no sharpness, there's no movement, there's no getting in behind. I'm looking at you to do something to spark me instead of someone taking the game with the scruff of the neck and leading the rest of the players. There's nothing happening for Rangers.
I think the first half was better. I
Better
wouldn't
than
say
what?
better than what's went before in terms of performance without getting anything, but the second half has been poor.
And if you're talking about Rangers and St Mirren and do they make a change, they'll find their own way of slowing this down. We mentioned the throw in. Declan Gallagher's now down holding his head after not being hit in the head by Scott Wright, so that's the way that
do you blame them? They're going to take the sting out of the game.
That's
It'd be
what
a
I'm saying,
terrific They're sitting in 8th, Gordon. If they lost today, and I think it's Motherwell below them, all of a sudden they're 9th, so they're quite entitled to do everything they possibly can to get 3 points. They're in command of this game just now. They've got the 3 points in their hand. They don't want to let it go,
doesn't it?
so
St Mirren won, go to 3rd place.
It's incredible difference. So look, it's not great to watch, but it's up to Rangers to keep the ball in the pitch and make things happen.
Well, here goes Ryan Kent trying to do that, but unfortunately for him, Strain just steps across, takes it off him.
Good defending there that time. Had a hard first 45 minutes against Kent, but he's certainly got to grips with him.
Bit of uncertainty though, and Rangers could be in here. Charles Dunn does really well at the second time of asking. That's a heavy one from Ryan Jack. Fair though, says Kevin Clancy, and I think it was in the end.
Well, Ryan Jack at least looks to have that sense of urgency about him. Chance.
Tavernier at the back post, heads it wide.
Goalkeeper had that covered here.
Yeah,
I could see from here he had that covered. You go back to the second half. Where is Scott Wright? Offered nothing. Right, Morelos, nothing. Kent has thrown a ball into the box. That's all he's. Is Tillman still on the pitch?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying about. You said, it was better a first half, but still, you're saying, well, even after 68 minutes, 70 minutes, it's not enough to keep his job. So it's not that better that the Rangers fans will accept it.
No, I said the performance level was better in the first half. They got into better positions, but had no cutting edge. I said the second half has been poor.
Did he have a funny...
Just a very distinct sprinting style from Curtis Main there.
Do you know?
Like his arms and legs looked like they were moving a lot quicker than
it was a Michael McIntyre one, wasn't it?
If that makes any sense whatsoever. St Mirren will make the double change very soon. Just fresh legs, if anything. I don't know if it's a deliberately defensive move or not, because they're still doing fine as that ball comes into Scott Wright and Tavernier tries to link up with them. So Rangers have, it says 15 on the clock, but I think we're looking at least 20 plus to get back into this first and foremost, and then try and go on and win it.
I honestly think you're crossing your fingers if you're going to play down the flanks and put balls in the box.
I've said that every week though, haven't we?
Yeah. Listen, it might be a quality like this.
It could be into the box, cleared by St Mirren.
But St Mirren have worked in that all week defending those balls, so it needs to be a good pick out from Rangers. Is this a one? No, it's not.
I'd be amazed to see the stats just now. 76 minutes. How many crosses Rangers have put in?
Well, it was what's the high mark? Was it 73 or something against Livingston?
Was
it? Yeah, it was something
like that. How many first contacts St Mirren defenders have got? Yeah, it's all right throwing balls into the box. You've got to have bodies. You've got to have players willing to get on the end of it. It looks a bit aimless now for Rangers.
But do you not think you've got to change it? Like, say, I said Kent, right? Kent to me, like, you can put his strip. Yeah. Listen, I've had enough. Get him in the middle of the park. Get him on the ball. Ask questions. Change the system a little bit. St Mirren are delighted. Go on in, take it down the wing. Tavernier, Barisic, Kent, right. Fire it in the box. We'll header it out. It needs something special to undo us. And so far they've defended brilliantly.
It's great from a young guy. Just rolls away from John Lundstrom and flashes one past the post. He felt it should have been a corner. He can't believe it. He sinks to his knees in disbelief that the corner hasn't been given. I don't know if he's at it or if he's got a case.
Oh, very close.
I don't think anyone did touch it, did they?
No.
Lundstrom doesn't get close enough. Does Alan McGregor get a touch?
Alan
McGregor might.
Saves it.
I think that should be a corner.
Got to say, that's what happens when you put a midfielder at centre half. You know, just wee things like that where a young guy's got him, he's pinned him and it's rolled into his feet. Lundstrom can't do anything about it and it's just rolled too easy. It's a decent opportunity.
Coming on? Sorry, I've missed this.
Bacchus for Kilty and Grieve for Ayunga. So that was Ayunga's last action. Here's one for you. Keanu Bacchus and many others today, but because he's the one that's relevant right now, can you honestly, Mark Wilson, having played most recently, go on there and fly into the same tackles that you would knowing that you go to the World Cup in a couple of days?
Oh, now, I have been fortunate that I've never been in that position before. I think you've got to, haven't you?
No.
You've got
human nature though.
You're
Barisic
coming into a huge game.
He's going with Croatia. You know, I think Barisic, I mean, it may be faulty touches, but he's been putting himself about.
Must be tough, that, Gordon, because the scheduling of this, I know that's who pays your wages. I know it's the priority. I'm not for a second saying you're deliberately taking the foot off the gas. That would be crazy. But it can be a once in a lifetime opportunity, and the crazy scheduling means that anything today, a dead leg today, could almost keep you out of the World Cup.
Yeah, totally agree. It's some scenario to be in, but I think when you're on the park, he'll be more concentrating and trying to help his teammates win this game. A very important game it is as well. He'll be delighted to go on. But you're right, Gordon, because that is something that may, and it probably won't ever come along again maybe for him.
You've got to remember how you got there though. St Mirren giving you the chance and performing for St Mirren. Now when your manager needs you for the last 15 minutes, Mark, you've got to repay him.
The week before we played Celtic in the Cup final, I stood in the left wing, right, and I shouted for 90 minutes, 2 men on. Did not want involved.
Was that different from any other game?
No, I usually stand in the middle and shout 2 men on. But
it's great from Ryan Kent. Is this the chance? It's going to be a penalty, you'd imagine. He's booked Ryan Kent for diving. Wow, that is a massive call. Well, it'll get looked at anyway. I must admit,
I thought that was a penalty.
Even if it's not a penalty, I'm not sure is it a dive? Well, we'll see it again anyway. There's no point in us diving into no, pardon the pun, right now, because he skips away from one, he goes away from another. It might just be a dive, you know. What do you think? He lifts both legs up, but is that the sign? Oh, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think that's a penalty.
He puts his foot in.
Is it Hugh? On that view?
I don't think that's a penalty. No. I think
that's what VAR's for.
Yeah, well, look, I'm going to say this, and I know for a fact that this doesn't mean that much to people anyway, but this is the really annoying bit. It has to be a clear and obvious error here from Kevin Clancy to get this penalty awarded, because he gave away there.
I think that's a penalty.
From that angle now,
at that
from behind
pace,
Kent,
is it inside the box?
It looks like it's on the line, which would
But
then
if it's
in
on,
turn,
it's inside, yeah.
the inside. I think he might.
I think that's a penalty kick.
He will surely
overturn this.
surely go to the monitor.
Well, only if they advise that he's perhaps made an error. Let's remember the way it works. If the VAR and the assistant VAR say no, you've got that right, then or it's not a clear and obvious error.
He has said okay
moment.
twice.
It's a
Ready?
big moment.
VAR review with Clyde Built Home Improvements.
Now Kevin Clancy is going over to the monitor.
I think
which
he's given
usually
that.
means
I think he's given
He's
that.
given it. Yeah,
he's giving
gonna
the
give
penalty. You would imagine the only thing. No, in fact, because it's the matter of fact is it should already. Yeah, he's inside the box, so that's not an issue. I must admit,
The submitted player.
I'll be right. I think we have to be honest here.
You're not having it.
I don't think it's clear either way. I don't think that's clear. No matter how many times I see that.
Gordon, I'm with you here because from behind Kent, it looks like he's caught.
That's a
From a
penalty kick.
different angle, it looks like Kent has jumped
From
to avoid.
behind Kent, it looks like a penalty all day long. From in front of Kent,
It looks like Kent's brought his legs up to avoid
because what
without
they're,
any contact.
what they're doing there is they're stopping the picture right at the perceived moment of contact. But I don't know how, if you can tell that those knees clash. You're better than me. I can't tell.
I think that's a
he'll be
penalty.
right. Kevin Clancy, and he's no.
Has
No.
he?
Has he stuck to his guns?
What
He
is
still
it?
gave
His
a
guns?
corner. Is it a corner?
He stuck to his guns. It's not a penalty. VAR check over, and there we are. Look, this isn't. Oh no, it is.
Is it?
No, right, hold on.
No yellow card.
No penalty, but not a dive. Or is it? It is a penalty. Right, it is a penalty.
Yeah, I told you it was
Right,
a
it just
penalty.
looked a bit underwhelming the way it looked as if he'd changed his mind. I didn't think he pointed to the spot there, did it? Looked like he put his hand.
He put his hand up. Yeah.
I'm not an expert in the signals. Anyway, penalty Rangers after a VAR check. Kevin Clancy overturning his own decision. Look, that's what it's there for, to try and give you another look. No yellow card, obviously, for Ryan Kent for diving. Tavernier's missed some recently. What a big moment this is. A huge moment for the Rangers skipper up against Trevor Carson, who's a wonderful goalkeeper. I'm not sure his penalty record's brilliant, but someone can tell me if that's the case. What a big moment this could be for Giovanni Van Bronckhorst. And it's
Goal flashes with Clyde Built Home Improvements.
Lifeline Rangers. St Mirren 1, Rangers 1. The clock says 83. There is at least 15 minutes left in this, you would imagine, by the time all the well, maybe not 15, but somewhere between 10 and 15 mark.
Well, certainly a lot of time left for Rangers to try and get a winner. Tavernier's penalty, to his right, keeper's left. Carson gets a hand to it, not enough, pushes into top corner, and it's a huge, probably 15 minutes left for Giovanni Van Bronckhorst. What a lifeline it is for him.
Well, we're going out with certainly with a bang tonight for 4 or 5 weeks, because it'll be a big talking point. I've got to admit, I thought that he eventually got to the right decision, Gordon. That's only my humble opinion. I thought it was a penalty.
Who was the St Mirren player involved?
Strain, was it?
Actually,
Strain had been bypassed by Ken. I think was it Ahara that came across
For
to
me,
cover?
he can't get to the ball, and his foot goes to the player, not the ball, and I think there's definite contact. As I say, that's what VAR is for.
Marcus Fraser it was. I think is the offside flag up? Because there was a bit of a claim from Rangers that Morelos had been pulled back as he went to get into the box, but the flag was up anyway, so that won't matter quite so much.
Oh, he's offside. There was a mile offside.
Fate tells you that Morelos now scores the winner.
Do you know, Hugh, he wouldn't put it by him. That's why I'm saying he's offered nothing. He's been terrible for 84 minutes. But
I think, look,
was he checking here?
There is a check for something here. Is it that pull back on? Why would that matter if the
If he was offside? I don't know what's going on here.
But are you still? Let me think about this.
I don't see what is the problem here.
They're trying to say that he's pulled Morelos back.
But he was a mile off.
Yeah, but then do you know what?
Certainly pulled him back.
Pulled him back. Yeah, he's
That's
got his shot.
unarguable.
No,
he's got his hand up. He's not clear with signals.
Who
Is
knows?
He's going like, what is this VAR all about?
85 gone. Don't mean to upset Robbie Nielsen here, but you're looking at, I think you're looking at 8 minutes added on, Mark.
It looks like it, yeah.
When you think about it, Leon King must have taken at least 5, maybe even more.
Yeah.
That was a lengthy stoppage for the penalty. We've had substitutions over the goal in each half, of course.
Yeah.
It's got to be at least 7.
Yeah, I would think so.
It would be a long 7 for St Mirren, because Rangers should psychologically appreciate the lifeline that they have been handled, and that, you know, we looked at a team in utter disarray who have been allowed back into it by the penalty kick, which Gordon Dale and I stand by. It was a penalty kick. Mark Wilson disagrees, but whatever is the case,
I disagreed first off, but then I said when I seen it from both, I could see the argument for both. I could see why in real time that Kevin Clancy may have thought it wasn't.
The impetus should lie with Rangers.
I was going to say, but it's St Mirren that are on the attack here.
Yeah.
They've whipped the ball in. That's a bit desperate though as that one comes back. And they might have a chance, St Mirren. And that is a big chance. And it's Bacchus, the man who's going to the World Cup that we mentioned, and he's sliced it over the bar. It fell to him. He's brought it down in the chest, 12 yards out. I think he should do better, Gordon.
I'm going to cut him a bit of slack. I think it's a hard one. You know, he gets into a good position, terrible defending. Put it this way, if he hits that a little bit lower, McGregor's absolutely no chance. St Mirren's still a threat. Rangers starting to give the ball away again. St Mirren's still a threat here. So where we got to get a winner? Mark and I are 2-1 Rangers, is that right?
Yeah.
You're out at your birthday's gone.
Bacchus should do better, Gordon. I'm with you. I think he should hit the target. I think he does well to
It's
control
hard
it.
technique, Mark.
I
You
don't
know,
know.
somebody that's...
Guy's going to the World Cup. He's
I
12
know,
yards out.
but look,
I'm
I've
not
been
talking
12
about
yards.
you
I've
in
been,
the box here.
I usually hit the target, but it is a hard technique. Let me just say that for someone that's been there so many times throughout the years. A long years ago.
Right, we're now, it's 2:15 and this game's nowhere near finished because of the time added on. So let's get some team news from the other games just to make sure that we're building up appropriately. We've already done Celtic team twice and the Ross County team. What about Tynecastle for Hearts Livy? Roger Hanna, if there's going to be points dropped by Rangers today, then Hearts would be one of the teams looking to try and close that gap. And Livy, of course, because they're above Hearts.
Yeah, that's very much the case. They are 2 places and 2 points above Hearts as arrive at Tynecastle this afternoon. Gordon, there's only, I think, 2 points between about 6 teams going from 3rd down to 8th in the table, so both sides will see this as an opportunity to get up to 3rd place before the break for the World Cup. Livingston have a terrible record here. They've scored 1 goal in 9 games here at Tynecastle over the past decade, and would you believe it was Marvin Bartley that scored it in a 1-1 draw 3 years ago. But it will be buoyed by that 2-1 home win against Aberdeen on Tuesday night, and that really did close everything up in that pack behind the Old Firm. Hearts, they lost to Ibrox on Wednesday night. The response is just the one change. 2 changes. Barry Mackay and the rest of Keir Mursoglu come into the midfield. So they go with Craig Gordon in goal as a back four. Michael Smith, Toby Sibic, Kai Rose and Alec Cochrane. Midfield, Barry Mackay, Orestes Keir Mursoglu, Robert Snodgrass and our own Andy Halliday. And up top, Lawrence Shanklin behind Josh Giannelli. On the bench, Stuart, Halkett, Atkinson, Devlin, Forrest, Nielsen, Henderson, Pollock and Connor Smith. 4 changes, quite surprisingly for Livingston after that win against Aberdeen. Dylan Bahambala, Scott Pittman and Bruce Anderson all go to the bench, and there's no Shamal George. The goalkeeper is out injured. In comes Stefan Omiyonga, Stephen Kelly, Andrew Shinnie and Ivan Konovalov. His first league start in 6 months. He's preferred to Jack Hamilton, who started the home defeat to Celtic recently. So it's Konovalov in goal. It's the usual back four: Nicky Devlin, Ayo Obilai, Jack Fitzwater and Christian Montano, who scored the only goal against Hearts when they won at the Tony Macaroni in September. Midfield 5, Stefan Omiyonga, Sean Kelly, Stephen Kelly, Jason Holt and Andrew Shinnie, and up top is Joel Newbley. On the bench, Hamilton, Boys, Longridge, Penrith, Pittman, Bahambala, Goncalves and Anderson. The referee at Tynecastle is Craig Napier and the VAR is John Beaton.
That should be a great game at Tynecastle. Really looking forward to hearing all about that one. Rangers are on the attack. It was actually St Mirren. It was Mark O'Hara. Free kick, Rangers, dangerous position. It was Mark O'Hara robbed Scott Arfield a minute ago and strode forward, couldn't make anything happen.
9 minutes added.
And this free 9 minutes added in Paisley. And for anyone who thinks, that sounds a lot, that seems justified. The Leon King delay was ages, and then there was a lengthy VAR check for the Rangers penalty. So a half 12 kick-off is going to finish at half 2. It's almost.
We'll watch this free kick and see how it pans out, but I'd quickly say you cannot complain about time devoted to looking after a young man who clearly had a serious head injury. You must put things into perspective, and you must look after the player's health.
The winner here, Hugh?
I think so.
Here comes Tavernier then with the free kick. Does it come from this? Not from the first phase, if you like. Rangers get the chance.
Got to go back in, isn't it?
To keep it alive, you'd have to think so. But St Mirren do well to force Tavernier back. But here's your sign. Does St Mirren just sit there and try and soak this up, or are they going to get out? And Barisic has given it away terribly to Strain, who doesn't look like he's got much left. I think he has kept that in,
done,
you know.
He's done magnificent there.
And he just chooses the wrong option.
Dreadful.
And he wins it back.
And he's back again.
Barisic, he's going to go down. Watch this. He's knackered. He's nutmegged Barisic, and he goes down anyway.
Strain's got a strain, right?
Strain hit. What about him there before that Rangers free kick? Strain's on the ground. He's saying to Kevin Clancy, I'm injured. And Kevin Clancy walks over and helps him up.
Well, he could refuse. I think he just wanted a rest by the looks of it. Here comes Ryan Kent. Rangers are into the box. Is this it? Is this the winner? No, it's
a dreadful ball. A dreadful ball. Is it right? Who cuts
Arfield,
that back?
I think.
Is it Arfield? Cuts it back. Plenty of options in there. Poor pass.
St Mirren look like they're out on their feet, some of them.
Yeah, and that's just the subs that's come on.
Well, here they come though. Mark O'Hara. How many players have lost their footing
in the centre circle?
In the centre circle.
What's going on in there?
It's a bit early for the Christmas ice rink to be set up, but that's what it looks like. It's been missed.
Coming.
Here it comes, edge of the box, blocked, and that's going to be a goal kick, because I think Ryan Jack tried to get his head on it.
They're Strain down again.
Did they not get his head on it? So it's going to be a corner. I thought Ryan Jack touched that, but we'll see it again.
Yeah, obviously missed it, but St Mirren will need to make that substitution. Strain will not gone. He's down again. I see him sitting down there at the top of the picture.
Let's get a look. Hard to tell. I don't know if Ryan Jack's got the Brill cream on, if it's got that little flipping.
Ryan Jack heads at it.
Yeah, that shouldn't be a corner.
Goal kick.
If Rangers score from this, it'll be fun on the phone lines, Hugh.
Yeah.
Because remember, VAR won't rule that out. The attacking phase of play begins
when the ball comes in.
When Rangers take the corner, not when it's awarded. And that's the same for any game under VAR. So Alex Gogic will replace Ryan Strain. That will add to St Mirren's height advantage over Rangers and set pieces. That doesn't always...
Never ideal coming on, is it? 93 minutes and you're defending a corner kick.
Oh, I'd hate that.
Never ideal.
Robbie Ewer for Borna Barisic.
He's going
what
for it.
A moment this could be for
He's
the
going
young
for
man.
it. Yeah, he's going for it. I don't blame him. He's got to a 1-1. I think we'll be having question marks about his career at Rangers going forward for me at 1-1. He needs to go for broke.
Yeah, going to be an outswinger from James Tavernier, and it's headed away by St Mirren. Backus got the presence of mind just to put his
Here's the trouble.
By the way, good
his
play
foot
there.
on it. But how much does St Mirren want to break here, though? Well, it
That's
looks
a
like
great ball.
quite a lot, because there's claims for a handball. St Mirren go into the box, and it's tame. I think does that go for a goal kick in the end?
It's a handball, I think
it's a
Gordon.
handball he's gave there.
Was it?
Fancy, but what a break there from St Mirren. They are looking dead on their feet, but they were still prepared to commit some bodies forward. It's going to be another. No, I thought it was
Trevor
another
Carson
corner.
keeps it in. Well done to him.
Yeah. So a big. What, 5 minutes left?
Right, just a few minutes left. Let's quickly get some team news, because time is going to get away from us, no doubt, this afternoon. Two teams who could be doing with a win meeting at Rugby Park. Kilmarnock against Hibs. Fraser.
I'm at St Johnstone Day, Gordon.
My magic label in front of me is giving me false information. Well, give us that. Give us those teams anyway, Fraser. That sounds like a good game anyway.
I'll give you the Kilmarnock team if you want, but no, I'll give you St Johnstone team. Of course, they come with a bit of confidence. They've beat Rangers last Sunday and one of the 3 victories in a row, and they've got 10 points at the last 12, climbing the table 6. They could be up 2 or 3 places with a win today. Amazing how it can turn around. Motherwell, on the other hand, 5 of their last 6 they've lost, but they've actually only been by the odd goal as they drop towards the bottom of the table. But Stevie Hamill going for it. He's going for the win. William Moult, the Motherwell heroes, back in the team, and Van Veen is also back after being taken off with a knock midweek. For St Johnstone, they make 4 changes. Mitchell is suspended. Murphy, McLennan and Brown drop to the bench. In come skipper Gordon, Montgomery, Witherspoon and May. They go with Remy Matthews in goals. Back 3, Ryan McGowan, Liam Gordon and Andy Considine. Dre Wright, Melker Hallberg, Graham Carey and Adam Montgomery in midfield with David Witherspoon and Nicky Clark and the recalled Stevie May. Elliot Parish, Ali Crawford, Tony Gallagher, Daniel Phillips, Matt Kucheravi, Jimmy Murphy, Theo Bair, Connor McLennan and Jason Brown are on the bench for Motherwell. Usual 4-3-3 formation. Liam Kelly in goals, O'Donnell, Solholm, Lammy and Penny at the back. In midfield, Cam Slattery, Sean Goss and Blair Spittle. And up front, Stuart McKinstry and Louis Moult either side of Kevin Van Veen. Only 8 subs: Anton Oxborough, Barry Maguire, Dean Cornelius, Josh Morris, Ross Tierney, Connor Shields, Keane Spears and Mark Ferry. And the referee today is the man of the moment with all the penalty kicks, Nick Walsh, and the VAR referee is Colin Stephen.
Van Veen and Mole, May and Clark, even Fraser Wishart can't get a 0-0 there, surely.
Yeah, that's why he's decided not to go to Rugby Park and go up there.
Yeah, he was actually told to go to Rugby Park and just ignored it.
Yeah, exactly.
And he's gone. Right, 96 played at St Mirren, so still a good bit of life in this yet. Here comes Ryan Kent, he's into the box, he's twisting, he's turning, he's got a shooting chance, and it's a good save.
No.
But it comes back out. What a dramatic finish this is. Trevor Carson earning his match appearance fee. My goodness, double save from him, brilliant from the St Mirren stopper.
The angle we're at there, I thought it was past him. I don't know how he's managed to save that. It's great play from Kent, you know, twisting and turning so hard to pin down. He gets his shot away, good save. And does he save it again for the second time? Or
Yeah, I think so.
Of the
It might be
bodies
a
there
block,
with James Tavernier. Shoot, so
this
what a
is
finish.
relentless from Rangers. They smell the winner here. It's clearly not been a good performance, but it will feel a lot worse if they don't come away with all 3 points.
We've got 2 minutes left then.
Yeah, a minimum of, remember, because any stoppages within that 9 would still have to be accounted for in one way or another. St Mirren need to just get it and keep it for a second, but instead
They've no outball, Gordon.
no, they give it up the line straight back to Rangers.
Yeah, and Rangers are just coming wave of attack, and great goalkeeping, you've got to say, for Trevor Carson there. Great play for Kent. First time I've really seen him come to life.
Can he not shoot earlier though? It's something that always gets levelled at him. Always. It looks great when you chop back and then you take that. Can he not shoot earlier?
Probably, but I think he opens the situation up for himself. I think he sells the defender.
Yeah, but then once he cuts back, there's then that next touch.
Yeah, but I'll still go back to it. I still think Trevor Carson's got to make a real good save.
That's true.
So I'll give him a bit of credit.
Okay, 98 minutes gone in Paisley. This could mean all sorts for the title race. It could mean all sorts for the future of Giovanni Van Bronckhorst. That's how important the next 1 minute of football is in Paisley. If you're listening and you're about to go and do something else, think again. You're not going to want to miss the end of this one, because either way it could be massive, and it will be massive. John Lundstrom, I'll tell you, I thought Grieve had done brilliantly there to win a free kick. Kevin Clancy says no, and it allows Rangers to attack. I thought the St Mirren player had done enough. Can Tillman produce the magic? He wins a corner kick. Is Alan McGregor going to come up for this? It's at that stage.
Well, 30 seconds.
I can't see McGregor here.
Van Bronckhorst, it's your job.
Van Bronckhorst's going up for it.
Get him up.
No chance.
Nah, he's not the type, is he?
He's not a header of the ball. McGregor got enough bodies in there.
Tavernier, it's a high ball and it does cut. And it's saved by Trevor Carson. It was a free header.
I think that's a great chance
for Ryan Jack, and it ends up an easy catch.
He doesn't get
that's
enough power in. No, it's not a sitter.
He's still about 10 yards out, isn't he?
Sitter.
It's not a sitter.
No,
he's got a free header
it's
in
not
the middle of the goal.
I think that might be
an open goal.
99 minutes gone in Paisley. Remember, it is a minimum, so there could still be more. Kevin Clancy's just letting everything go now.
Yeah.
We're past the 99 minute mark.
He's in trouble here.
And Rangers come up, but here's Trevor Carson slipped as well. But he's got it. Surely he holds on and kicks it up the pitch, and that's it, you would imagine.
You're not saying that's an unbelievable chance for Jack, yeah?
I think it's a good chance. It's not sitter. I think you'll need to.
Full time Paisley, Andrew McLean.
St Mirren 1, Rangers 1. The full time score. Boos ring out from the away supporters, and the handshakes are going on with Giovanni Van Bronckhorst making his way down the tunnel. James Tavernier's penalty saves a point for the visitors, but will it be enough to save the job of the Rangers manager? Well, Rangers were the better side in the opening stages. Malik Tillman with the first effort 6 minutes in, he dragged that one wide from the edge of the box, and a big save from Trevor Carson after that. Borna Barisic, a good cross to the back post. There was Scott Wright, his header was going towards goal, but Trevor Carson managed to block it. St Mirren then started to step it up before the break. Greg Kiltie flashing a ball across the face of goal, but there was no telling touch in the middle. Declan Gallagher with a good headed chance from a corner after that. He flicked that one wide, Leon King almost turned an awkward clearance into his own net as well. They continued that spell after the break and made the most of it too. A long throw into the box, poorly defended by Rangers. Jonah Ayunga with the first shot, that was saved by Alan McGregor, but it fell back to the striker and he found the back of the net for 1-0. A long stoppage in play after that with Leon King down injured. He had to be stretchered off. John Lundstrom then moving into defence for the visitors. The game became edgy, Rangers unable to create too much, St Mirren not effective enough on the break either. However, a lifeline for Rangers in the last 10 minutes. Ryan Kent initially booked for diving after a challenge in the box by Marcus Fraser. It went to a VAR review. Kevin Clancy went to the monitor and a penalty was awarded. Ryan Kent's card rescinded. James Tavernier stepped up from 12 yards and he levelled things with 5 minutes to go of normal time. However, there was 9 minutes of injury time added because of that Leon King stoppage and for the VAR stoppage for the penalty as well. Rangers pushed. Ryan Kent had one saved by Trevor Carson. James Tavernier's follow-up was blocked. Then right at the death, Ryan Kent with a header from a corner, but that one went straight into the arms of Trevor Carson. It wasn't enough from Rangers. The Rangers board will even giving Giovanni Van Bronckhorst time, but heading into the World Cup break, is it finally time up? The full time score here, St Mirren 1, Rangers 1.
An incredible afternoon in Paisley, and I suspect we've not heard the last of that result. We've got big 3 o'clock games to come, of course, and plenty more to be said about that one in Paisley.
Clyde One Super Scoreboard Podcast with Lookers Volvo, the new name for Taggarts. The same friendly faces and great service with a new name above the door.